And we are live. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico and I am your in-house conservative. To my left, Rob Ambrose, our token liberal. And together, we review what's in the news. Our goal is simple. We want to show you that it's possible for a lefty and a righty to not only get along, but to be able to have a civil conversation when we disagree. Because remember, common sense has no political affiliations. What's going on, man?
What's happening, brother? What what are you up to today? How's your day going so far?
Just been editing. What's going on,
Yeah.
brothers?
Azog, is that a new face?
What's going on, man?
Nice
Wise
to see
guy,
you.
what's going on? This is weird. Why can I not change this? I'm not able to change our positions for some reason. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Hold
I,
on.
I was just noticing that too.
Let me get out. There you go. I cheated. Yeah, that's fucked up. That
Yeah,
is
that's
messed up, but hey.
yeah. It looks so
Technology, man.
it looks so weird.
Yeah, it's not right. It's not right. You're not conservative enough to deserve the right spot just yet. You still have some work to do, man. Still have some work to do. So yeah, man, I
I
was,
need to
just
look inside myself.
yeah, man, I was just editing. I'm just finishing up an edit for John. How do you say his last name? Drenkis? No, Brenkis. John Brenkis, the guy from Sports Science that passed away this weekend. Man, I just finished editing the reel or the video. I'm gonna upload it later, but man, this type of shit bothers me. Fuck, it sucks, man. I really like that guy.
Why? What was the guy that died? He had this suicide too, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, like we were saying yesterday, you never know. It's
Yeah.
people seem like they have it all together, they got all the success, but
You never know, man. You never know. It's just technically it makes you realize how you don't know people, right? You really
yeah.
don't, and you don't necessarily know the people in your life either. So, guys, again, it's men's mental health or men's month of mental health, however you want to say it. So, if you got some friends that you haven't spoken about or spoken to recently, check up on them because you never know. This is what all the whole month is about. And I used to coach men. I know what it's life is hard, bro. So if you do have some friends out there you haven't spoken to in a while, just reach out, see how they're doing because you never know. Maybe that's all it takes.
Yep. No, it's good. That's a good message. What do we have on the agenda for today?
Oh shit, man. There's again having Mark Carney and having Trump in power. We'll have stuff to talk about for years. I don't think that's a surprise, but
No.
we got a few things. We definitely want to talk about the conservatives. So they were able to pass a motion that will force the liberals to give us a spring budget or at least a spring resume of how they plan to spend those 400, let's call it $500 billion that they asked us to give them last week. A kind of a oh yeah, trust me, bro. Trust me, bro.
Yeah,
So
It's coming. It's coming. I mean, is it even a real budget, or is
no,
it? Like,
this is the thing, right? It's a motion for them to do it. Now, do they really have to do it or not? That's the question. Like,
yeah.
is it binding? That's the thing. We don't know yet. It seems like it is because it was passed to the vote. And considering that the conservatives do need to be backed by the NDP in order to pass anything, or by the Bloc Québécois, if not both. And by you'll see I have the results. So technically, I think they needed everybody, and not only that, but there's some people on the Liberal that weren't there. So a week in the Parliament, we already have 4 Liberals that are not showing up to work. So we're definitely going to talk about that. I wanted to talk about
have never showed up yet. Like they've never been there yet since Parliament
that. I
opened.
don't know. I'm not taking attendance, but
Could you imagine?
easily that wouldn't be hard for me to imagine that at all. That wouldn't be hard at all. I wanted to talk about Greta Thunberg. She's back in the news, and oh man, that fucking woman. And we're gonna have a buddy of mine. I've known Simon for years. Like literally, I used to coach him as a fighter. He's a fucking monster. I don't know if it's gonna show on camera, but he's like 6'7", 200 something pounds. He's a big boy. And over the weekend, he owns a few cafes around Montreal, and one of them got literally torched. Like it looked like cocktail Molotovs in the building, and he has security cameras on the outside. And two of the guys ended up in the hospital. They burned themselves. Fucking bunch of twats. But either way, he's gonna join us at. He told me to be here at 12:30. So we're gonna be speaking to Simon to see what's going on, what happened.
Does he know anything about it? What was there any motivation?
That we don't know. I'm not gonna ruin it. I'm gonna let him speak. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that we need to keep in mind that there is a ongoing criminal investigation. So yes, I'm not gonna be asking too much of his opinion. I'm gonna let the time go until that's scheduled, then we can talk about it. But I know Simon very well. We've recorded some content in the past, so he'll join us around 12:30 to talk about it. But there's a bunch of little subjects that we need to talk about, like our premiers were meeting with Carney yesterday in Saskatoon, and of course it seemed like a big liberal party. Even Doug Ford
Ford, yeah.
is literally elbows up Carney. So it is a weird fucking climate to be a conservative today. It is very, very fucking weird.
Short Circuit's a new face. Welcome there, sir.
What's going on?
Yeah. I feel like it's just weird political climate in general. A lot of weird stuff going on. This Doug Ford shift to the left is certainly an unusual storyline in here in Canadian politics. I don't know, like, when did this start? Because I've heard, when did he start to like drift towards Trudeau? Because that was when Trudeau was still prime minister, right?
Yeah, I'm just sorry, man. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Since when has he not been a conservative? And he's never been a conservative. But at the same time, the conservatives in Canada are not real conservatives either. So I'm just surprised to see him be on Carney's nuts that much. This is what surprises me, because I don't remember him being that big of a fan of Trudeau. But ever since Carney's been in the picture, it seems like it's all deck aboard. Like I don't remember what the expression is, but he's like liberal train. He's on the boat, like he's jumping on the liberal horse. He's just fucking going all in. So man, I can only imagine voting him in as a conservative in Ontario and seeing what he's doing. Holy shit. The conservatives out there must be like, because so many conservatives were happy. They're like, we won. I'm like, okay, cool. And then you start to see that happen. Like, damn. Like, is he even trying to be a conservative? Like, can we can you just say that we just have one party in Ontario and it's the Liberals?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super well versed in Ontario politics, but
all hands on deck. Sorry, bro. That's exactly what I meant. All hands on deck. That should be his spiel now.
Oh, is that his slogan?
No, I'm saying that's what it should be. It should be on all hands on food and all hands on deck, because that motherfucker hasn't skipped a meal in a while.
All hands on the crack pipe.
That would be great. All hands on deck, crack, and food.
Yeah.
There you go.
Do you remember that video of his brother Rob? I think he was mayor of Toronto then, smoking crack with the brothers. That was pretty gangster, but Jesus Christ, man. Like, fuck.
That is the political spectrum in Canada.
Yeah, that's the that's the Ford family. Detective Gaines says, I think the meme going around that Parliament passed a motion forcing the budget is fake. And Wise Guy answers,
No, it's definitely real.
he
It's
says, I know. Yeah.
it's everywhere. Like it's everywhere outside. I'm not just one to go on X and believe what everything X tells me. So no, the motion was passed yesterday, and a bunch of people are reporting on it. That has nothing to do with, uh, like you have some traditional media that's talking about it, like like iPolitics, for example, a place I don't like, but no, it's pretty much everywhere. So, but the thing is the question I really had, and this maybe you can answer, is it legally binding? Do they because the motion passed, does it necessarily mean that it is binding or not? And and this is exactly what Wise Guy's saying. I know it's not binding, but is usually followed, and I believe that that's the case. So as much as they passed it, it was accepted, it was voted on. I don't think it's binding. I don't think there's any consequences if they don't respect it. And judging from 10 years of liberal policies, where you had a prime minister that was literally that shut down parliament in order to avoid speaking about what was developing. What was the scandal? There was a scandal when he closed parliament back in October-ish last year. So are they going to respect it or not? Their track record doesn't seem to indicate that they will, but who knows? Maybe they will. We'll see. But as far as I know, as far as what Wise Guy's saying, that's what I've seen too. I was reading that it's not binding, unfortunately, but it did pass.
Yeah, and I don't think it's legally binding, but at the same time, as Wise Guy says, it's usually followed. So in practice, we'll see this time if it actually happens, but you never know.
It's just one of those things that it sounded like it wasn't binding. That's what I'm seeing pretty much everywhere. But the thing that bothered me is the fact that they seem to indicate that they're either looking for a budget or a financial update. I don't want an update. I don't want them to tell me that's what we plan on doing. No, give me a fucking budget. You've been on break for 5 months. All the people in government were working. Those budgets are done. They need to update their spreadsheets, obviously, but they have plenty of time. Don't give me this shit. And if you don't, you know what? Skip your fucking summer vacation, asshole. Yeah, it's that fucking simple. If you know what? I remember when I worked for the man, I took vacation, but my vacation was based on, did you delegate all your work, all the clients that you have on the go, all the prospect they're about to sign? Are you like, I'm not just, fuck you fuckers, I'm out. No, especially not for 3 months, right? Even if I left for fucking 2 weeks, that's the maximum I was allowed to leave. I couldn't leave more than 2 weeks, and everything need to be prepped. Everything need to be followed with. And how many times have I fucking take calls and took customer appointments, even if I was on vacation? So don't give me this shit, right? Fucking do your job. You work for us.
What do they work?
You've been on break for long enough.
70 days a week. Or sorry, 70 days a year, 70 80 days a year.
Even if they respect every single day that they're supposed to be in parliament until the end of the year, if we consider that they're leaving for another 3 months, you're looking at somewhere, my calculation were around low 60s, high 50s, but I've been told up to 70. So let's call a spade a spade. Let's call it 70, when on the government website, it indicates that they should be sitting in parliament in the House of Commons for about 130 days. Yeah. So they're halfway. They're not even halfway there. They're like, we're going to take a break.
Yeah.
And that is just, we count until the end of December, until they break for Christmas. Not because right now they've sat for 1 week and there's already 4 fucking liberals that didn't show up yesterday. So
yeah, it's I mean, honestly, even what is 120, 140, that doesn't even sound like that much, but at least do that. Like at the very least do that.
Like 130 is not that much. It's 365. No. So how many working days? How many working days?
Canada in a year.
How many days? 261. So you're literally asking to be there half the time.
Yeah. And and do they ever even hit that? That's like the top. That's the absolute best they can do.
No, because the numbers I saw were saying that on average they sit between 100 to 130 days. That's pretty much the average. But as per the government website, you look through the articles of parliament, as in how many days they should sit, what they're supposed to do is between 130 to 150. That is what their own documentation, that obviously hasn't been changed in a long time, because it looked, you look at the PDF, you're like, could be better. But it's still directly on their website. But as per the averages that I was seeing is between 100 to 130. So they're not even there. They're not even fucking close to.
Not even close to it.
No. And 261 days. Fuck.
Yeah, that's wild. Wise Guy says, I think there's a crack in the Liberal Party armor. Why didn't the 4 MPs show up? That's a little bit of intrigue for sure. What is there any tea or is there any gossip about that? Or what it seems like the kind of thing you wouldn't miss.
You remember a couple of weeks ago it wasn't last weekend, but the weekend before, they were trying to pass within the Liberal caucus, they wanted to pass a motion where they would have the power to remove Carney if they wanted to, and then it didn't pass.
Yeah.
That right there, bro.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that also shows cracks in the party armor, because that was really weird, right? I thought that was like,
Parliament's not even opened yet.
No, exactly. Like usually something like that might happen, 2 to 3 years in, if like the approval ratings drop. But normally you get this honeymoon period at the beginning of your term. Term hasn't even started yet. And
there's no honeymoon suite. There's no honeymoon phase right now.
No, there's none.
Actually, there's 3 weeks of work, and then there's a massive honeymoon, but it's not a phase, right?
I just want to quickly say this. Azrog says, my comments don't seem to pass. No, we do see them over here.
Where are you?
He said he's on X. He said,
okay.
I'm glad to see a person on the left against woke madness. I thought it wasn't possible before. There are some of us out there. And this is, guys, just a good time to add, if you are watching us from X, over on YouTube is kind of where the action happens. If you look down in the bottom right, you can see all these comments. If you're on YouTube, you're able to actually engage and see all of those. You can still comment on X, and we do get it, but it's not. It kind of tucks away. It's not as easy as for us to see. So I did see you, but yeah, if you want to jump to YouTube, that's definitely the best place to be.
And if you do get to YouTube and you like what we're doing, think about liking, think about subscribing. But there's also you could kind of sponsor the event. Jesus. Sponsor the show.
Yeah.
It's $2.99 a month just to support what we do. If you believe that there's a place for a lefty and a righty to open up conversations like you're already seeing in the comments. And obviously, this is what's brilliant about this, is people are informing, they're asking us questions, they're confirming what we're saying, or they're having conversation within themselves, like Detective Gain's already learning. So just to say, if you see value for what we're doing, help us out. This is what we do every day, 5 times a week, 2.5 hours a day. And if you do subscribe for $2.99 a month, it will give you access to the members only Discord server where you can continue this conversation over there. And there's no censorship, unlike YouTube. So if your wife or your husband's tired of you speaking politics with them, join the Discord server and save your marriage. You're welcome.
Yeah. A lot cheaper than a marriage counselor.
From what Robin, I've been told, yes.
Robin, good morning to you.
What's going on, Robin?
Chris Fields, how's it going, brother? He says Carney's realizing Parliament is not a boardroom. Yeah, and I think, that is his mindset, and politics is a different game. And so I think I agree. I think it's a good comment. I think he is learning that. It says hopefully go to the polls soon, like for another election. I don't know. I think that'll be a little while, but you never know.
I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure if he.
Well,
I don't think he gives a fuck. I really don't think he cares. King Carney does not care about what Canadians think. Clearly, he doesn't care. He doesn't care about the people in his party. He don't care. He's going to turn them down. He doesn't care about reporters. He's going to tell you, look within yourself and just cut. Hey, I'm speaking, and just cut the conversation. People are, I always love how people are saying, oh no, but he's from the private sector. He's the type of guy that we know. And those are the government workers. I'm like, you don't understand what the private sector is, do you? Because in the government, they can't talk to you like that. In the private sector, they definitely can. Believe me, I've worked there my whole career. If they have a problem with you, they'll tell you. They don't really give a fuck. The HR department's not there to help you. The HR department is there to protect the company against you. If you look at what HR department stands, people think, oh, I'm going to go talk to the HR department. I have a problem. No. They're there to protect the employer against their employee.
And to push ideologies. So to enforce pronoun usage and all of those things.
But I don't see anything happening, man. I don't see him getting kicked off. I don't see him being in trouble. I just see, if Canadians really believe what he's doing right now and that he's standing up to Trump and doing what he's supposed to be doing, I don't know what it's going to take for him to lose a vote of confidence. Like, no. I don't see it.
I don't see it anytime soon, for sure. But I guess just the fact that you're hearing already about these kind of things. I mean, maybe you'd be a little worried if you're Carney, because maybe it means he doesn't have too much like wiggle room here. Maybe if he hasn't made any major mistakes just yet. I mean,
he hasn't done shit
that his base would turn against him for, and maybe that's why he hasn't done shit. Right? You can't make a mistake if you don't do anything. But we will, we'll see.
It's just, I don't see, I see his party continuing to defend him. And that's the problem, right? I don't see it. I don't see his party standing up to him and doing anything because they're scared of him. And at the same time, they want to keep their jobs. And they have a pretty cushy job, bro. Like, they've worked a week and they're going to work another 2 weeks.
Days a year for 200
3 fucking months off. So,
yeah, no, that's a sweet job. Robin, good morning to you.
So let's, instead of talking about Carney, we'll go back because I got a bunch of videos for the motion that was passed by the Conservatives yesterday, or actually I think it was finalized this morning. But I see that my buddy Simon is here, and just to give a bit of context before I bring him on, I'll show you a video that I saw. I didn't even know. My wife comes up to me. She's like, "Hey, Simon, one of his coffee shop got burned down this weekend." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And the video is going viral on Facebook and on Instagram right now. I don't think I've seen it on Next, but a buddy of mine that I've known for way too long, Simon, owns a company called Micro Espresso. He does coffee services, and he has a bunch of coffee shops. He has about 3 of them on the island of Montreal. And over the weekend, there's like 8 guys that showed up to his coffee shop, broke the window, and burnt it down. And it's all caught on camera. So I'm going to bring him up. He's sitting in his car right now, wearing shady shades. But hey, let's bring him on. What's going on, bro? Oh, hold on. You're muted. Let me unmute.
I think he's got to be on the stage.
Oh, he's there now. Can't unmute because no. There you go. What's going on, Simon?
Good to see you. Nice to meet you, Rob.
Hey, you too, brother. I don't see him. I see him down on the stage. I don't see him on our main.
Really?
If there's anything, do you want me to press %?
No. You should be good, man. Hey, guys, in the comments, can you tell us if you see Simon? Because Simon's there. I see him.
I see him in the bottom, like almost like the staging area, but I don't see him on our main screen.
No, I think you're on track, bro.
Okay, if they see him, it don't matter. I can see him small, so all good.
Yeah, just like in real life, like 6'7" small.
yeah, just tiny. Yeah.
How's it going, brother? Real. Yeah, it's we're coping.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about. I only first heard about when Nico sent me the link there.
Before we get into it, let me show the video. I got a video queued up right here. I'm just gonna show up to to our listeners here because, well, it's interesting. Yeah, it's. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. It's just, goddamn, you see absolutely everything. And so, for the people that are not aware, we have Simon with us. He's one of my buddies. I've known him for years. We actually I used to coach him in martial arts. He's a great dude. He owns 3 coffee shops on the Montreal Island, and one of his shop got burned down over the weekend, and everything's caught on camera. So I'll show you the video, and then we'll let Simon explain what happened.
Already there, that's a concussion. With the door frame on his head.
They're filming, eh?
It's scary, man. It's violent.
Wow.
So there you have it. Yeah, I should have set a warning for YouTube purposes. Trigger warning. There's a bunch of idiots that are trying to burn a coffee shop down and ended up burning themselves. So tell us what happened, Ben.
Exactly what you see. I am speechless. I don't have any answers. There's a whole bunch of stories going around of why, how, and I'm not trying to protect my ass in any of this. Like, it is as much of a shock to me as it is to you guys who know me. Like, Nico, you've known me since so many years. We've shared the ring. We've shared good and bad moments together. Like, I've never expected one day in my life to be a victim of such a crime, you know?
Yeah, no, so one of our comments here, Detective Gaines, says seems targeted. And I mean, it certainly seems at least organized in some level. And have there been arrests or anything made on that?
There's rumors of a couple people that got arrested upon showing up to the hospital. That's all I know. It's a very tight case. Of course. They're not telling me anything. And I don't want to get into it either because it's not part of my world. But also, it's like, you know, the authorities aren't telling me much. Let them do their job, and you know, like they're doing a great job so far. And big thanks to the first responders, by the way. I need to raise my hat to them because when I showed up on the scene, all the best cops of Montreal were there. They were all there reassuring me that they're going to get to the bottom of it. They were all heartfelt for me, and they really like, you can tell they were touched by what happened.
Wow. What time was this at?
4:40 in the morning. So I'll just tell you the facts from my perspective without getting into all the speculation and any of that, because I don't even know it myself. It's all hearsay. I woke up at 4:40 in the morning with my alarms going off in the cafe. Usually that means it's the muffin man that forgets to put the alarm code. And I opened the cameras, and there he is dropping some cookies and muffins. And it's the one, like, I've been fearing this moment ever since I opened the shop, seeing some guys with a balaclava inside my shop, right, on the cameras. And there were 2 young guys with a balaclava looking around. I'm like, oh, shit, here we go. We're going to get robbed. So as a good kickboxer that I am, I tell them on the cameras, guys, get the fuck out of my shop. Wait for me there.
So you're watching this live as it goes down?
Yeah, live. As I say that, the cameras go blank. I lose connection. So, you know, we call the cops, the first responders. I rush to the scene of the crime. As I approach, like instant by instant, I'm seeing heavy activity of cops. So I'm like, okay, they're running around. Good. Like, very nice response for a break-in entry. As I get closer and closer, I start seeing firefighters, and like the scene gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I have no idea what the hell is going on. So then I'm like, okay, maybe they got through the back door of the building. The building's fire alarm went through. I can understand. Just as a precaution, firefighters are there. Then I see crime scene. I see my window's blown out. I see like huge amount of cops. I'm like, oh my god, maybe there was like a protest, and guys were like, fuck capitalism and fuck small business owners, and we're just gonna set them on fire. So I was expecting the whole building or my neighbors to be all ruckused up, but no, only my business. So then I'm like, oh fuck, maybe I pissed them off on the cameras and they set it on fire. Instead, no. The manager of a nearby business gives me his camera footage that he received from local businesses. They went in, as you saw the video, and it was as a shock for me as it is for you guys. And
Wow.
I haven't been a victim of any of this. We don't step on anybody's toes. We just make coffee, and we're a mom and pop shop. Like, my wife is here. If you want to say hi, Ksenia.
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
We are the company. Sorry to interrupt. We are the company, and we are like, it's our employees. It's all like liberal arts people making good coffee, and like, no one hates us.
What's the area of Montreal like? Like, is this typically a low crime area, or is this kind of thing that seems out of place for this area?
I mean, it's like the most beautiful part of Montreal is the old port. It's we're in a historic building.
Okay.
That's part of like federal disputes. Like between World War I, when they used to belong to the Belgians, and then like it's part of history of the city.
Wow.
For this, I've heard of these activities happening around the city, but you walk on your side of the street, the stray dogs are not going to come and bite you. That's how I always lived my life. Here they came to bite us.
Wow.
So what's next? What comes next at this point? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that there is a criminal investigation going on. I've read that 2 of the guys ended up in hospital. Obviously, the 2 idiots that were right in front of the door, they got burned. There's no doubt about this. But so it seems like, yeah, agreed. It seems like 2 of the guys got arrested, at least from what I could see. But what comes next for you? Because obviously now you need to rebuild. There has to be crazy damage, right?
Yeah, it's a total loss. Like it's not even sinking into me right now because of the pressure I have to like figure shit out. It's not even sinking in how it's going to affect us. Like I told my wife, can we just not reopen? Because for me to, let's say if we rebuild, I go into a place where I've seen and I've been hurt like that, it's traumatizing. It's like going where you lost one of your family members. It hurts. So I don't know how I'm going to feel in this place afterwards. But she's like, if we don't do this, then we're done. We don't have an income. We don't have, we lose so many employees. They're going to lose us, and our community is going to lose us. And again, like the loss, like everything we've invested into this cafe, into this neighborhood, it's all gone. And I can't even like digest it right now.
I can hear the pain in your voice, and I think I really feel for you, and I think it is just a coffee. Some people might say just a coffee shop, but as you say, it's part of the community. You've got employees. It's obviously your family's income. There's a lot going on here.
And like, dude, I'm used to suffering. I'm used to pain. I used to be a multiple-time kickboxing champion, thanks to Nick by my side. They use a metaphor as how many times you can get back up, and this is just like another round in the ring. But it feels like we're getting into those championship rounds where, you give it everything, you got nothing left, and you didn't make a dent on the guy. You didn't dent the situation enough to make a difference, and you got to go dig so deep into your reserves that you risk of collapsing along the way. But there's a 1% chance you might make it, and that's literally how it feels right now. I retired from kickboxing because I couldn't take the pain anymore, and fuck, here we go again. And again, I'm not trying to self-pity, but yeah.
No, I think you definitely deserve
this one hurts,
yeah. Sometimes you just gotta take some time first before you dust yourself off, for sure.
Yeah, but at the same time, man, if you don't get back up, you're quitting, right? So I know you better than this. I know that you're talking right now because you're kind of irritated and you don't know how to feel about it, but I know you better than that, so I'm not too worried. Plus, your wife is not going to let you quit no matter what. That I can attest for her. I know her enough to know that she's not going to let you quit. But plus, you have employees, so you need to do the right thing at the same time.
Yeah, I got to take care of them mostly. Yeah, And also,
But
sorry,
what?
Nico, before we get to the next point, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
real
man.
quickly.
No, go for it, man.
We're talking about time, just so we can move on from the time point. Formula One is next week. Coffee shops in
Ooh.
Montreal, they only make a decent amount of money, like just enough to survive the whole year in summer. The rest of the year, we're at a loss. Like winter, October to June, we're at negative every month. And we have to be so careful. We have to, like every coffee we sell, we need to do economies of a carpet salesman at a bazaar to just be able to like save up. Like, you know, we got to haggle every cent. We got to use it smartly. We can't, like, our summer is ruined. I don't even know if we're going to recover fine. Like, even if we reopen, I don't know when we're going to reopen. And it's such a fucking blow to the company and to us. So, like, Formula One's next week. We have other events that we're just going to miss, and to no fault of our own.
How long is it? How long will it take to rebuild? Do you know?
That's $1 million question. I'm in talks all day, back to back. I'm exhausted. I'm trying to figure out like what's the process. There's no guidance. Nobody told me, you know, the decontamination process, the rebuild. Like, is there a code? Is there, like, I'm talking to everyone I can. I'm pulling in favors left and right, just to know, like, okay, can I bootstrap it? Do I have to go through like official channels and permits and this and that? Like, you know, can I just sand the walls, and if it doesn't smell like gas, can I reopen? Obviously, everything is toast, so it's way beyond just a build out like I'm used to. This is like stripping down, making sure nothing is contaminated with accelerants like gas, and rebuilding from there. One step at a time, we'll figure it out.
Are you able to put something on the, because I know depending where you're located in Montreal, you're allowed to have a terrace. In Old Port, are you allowed to have a terrace? You can't, eh?
No, there's too much regulation from the city. One, there's no space. You've seen the space when you came by. There's very little sidewalk, and it's a car parking. So no, and also it's all historically preserved stuff. So it has to look how it looked 200 years ago.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of code to respect.
Yeah. They, and that will definitely affect the rebuild. Does when you, like you had mentioned, the accelerant and the smell of gas, is that quite strong there now when you go down to it?
So I'll make you an example. The place a week ago smelled like croissants. They smell like puff pastries and coffee.
Yep.
Now it smells like war. Like, it smells like destruction, ashes, gas. Like, the floors are reeking with gas. It's like just a smell alone. Yeah, it's so strong. I'm all congested right now because I've been there a couple of days cleaning up. It's horrible. Like, I never thought we would live this. Again, I'm not trying to self-pity or whatnot, but it's such, like, it's the worst news you hear on the media these days, other than like personal tragedies, of course. And like for a small business owner at least, and it happened to us. So I'm like, can't believe, we're never going to be prepared for this stuff.
You know what, man? Let me. I'll give you a call after this, like once we're done recording, to see if there's anything that we can do to help. Because I don't know if you still sell your coffee online. Because I know
we do, yeah.
So let's talk afterwards. See if there's, like, between Rob and I, we have about like 240,000 followers between the two of us. So there has to be something that we can do to just share your story.
So we get 50 cents each. We're able to open.
Yeah, it's 120 grand. Yeah, that's not bad.
Not asking for much. I'm just asking for volume. Yeah. But talking about like the rebuild process and everything, I had a meeting with my insurances today. Like, as a small coffee shop, we have a very limited bare bone insurance as well. We never prepared for such sort of attacks.
No, of course.
And vandalism. So usually, like, the amount we're eligible for covers, like, obviously I have to go a lot out of pocket, which I'm fine with. But if we had a policy that would have covered everything from, light bulbs to fixtures and this and that, we would be at a deficit on a monthly basis just to pay for insurances. And this is such a rare occurrence. So we have an insurance that's going to kick in. But it's just enough to cover one espresso machine. So that's why right now we're doing a crowdfunding, because financially we weren't prepared for this either. There's a GoFundMe campaign. People started donating, like just sending us $50 here and there, $100, $5 at a time, just to help us rebuild before we even thought about doing a GoFundMe campaign. So I'm like, okay, this is like the strength of the community behind us, our customers, and even celebrities have been helping us. Like, let's just put together a campaign and allow it to, just to be there if anybody wants to help. Yeah,
Well,
that's where
if
they can help.
if there's a link for that, we could probably put that up here on the screen, and perhaps some of
Absolutely.
our listeners here could. We'll get that up there probably after we're done talking to you. But because I can see some of the comments here, for example, here's one from Tammy. She says, "Seeing how these horrific acts affect the real hardworking people who have poured everything into the community is just tragic. I'm so sorry to see this happen to honest small business owners." So, and there's
again, I'm not trying to make a sub story out of this. It's like, Nick, you've known me for many years. I've never asked for help for anyone. If there's one time we need help, it's right now, because like I can't do it alone. It's just too much for my family to endure.
Understood. I mean, it's completely understandable. Yeah, and we'll, like Nico said, we've got between the two of us, we've got a fairly large social media audience. We've got the audience here. For example, we got a commenter who just says, "Drop the link in chat, please. I'll make a community post." So there'll be some support as well from the audience. We've got a pretty generous audience as well. I'm seeing a couple people, so we will drop that link. If you could just maybe send that to Nico, that link for the GoFundMe, and we'll make sure that gets up here in the chat as well.
As soon as I get off, I'll send it right away.
Yeah, send it to me on Facebook Messenger, and I'll drop it in here.
Super appreciate it.
Well, I'll also,
and we'll also make a post.
Around,
yeah, I will as well.
more than a post, but I'll
like a reel or something
out of this.
Yeah.
I'll promote what you're talking about, but
and
let's
for me, most importantly,
let's just jump on the phone, you and I, afterwards, so that I can see how I can help you, because I have a lot of followers around Montreal and Canada that can help. So let's try to figure this out, man.
And I wanted to say, like, for me personally, I was ready to just give up and move on. There's plenty of beautiful spaces around the city. But why I'm putting pressure now just to reopen as soon as possible and not wait for the banks, not wait for big settlements and whatnot, it's because of my employees. We have 6 beautiful employees that they're the heart of the company. They're the ones who are Micro Espresso. Like, I'm behind the scenes and I give them the spotlight. They're in shock. They're hurt. I was driving with my manager yesterday. We had to pull over on the side of the street so she could throw up because of how it's affecting her, how she's scared and hurt by this. So I just want to make sure, they're okay. They have a job to go to. And for me, I can rebuild. I cannot rebuild, whatever. I'll figure life out. I've had rougher moments. Maybe not, but this is up there. But it's really for my employees that I want to do this.
No, for sure. I think, I think we can tell how, sort of how brutal this moment is for you. But as Nico said, obviously I've only met you here in a few minutes, but, as Nico said, he says you're the kind of guy who's just going to pick yourself up and get back out there. And I just from what I can see, I absolutely believe that. And I got a feeling you're going to get a whole lot of support behind you as well.
Definitely.
People will be touched by that story. I think I know some of our audience members are. I'm just watching the comments here. And I think we see these tragedies all the time, or not all the time, but we see things like this in the news a lot, and it's just news. But I think when you actually, sometimes we forget that these are real people, real events, and that there's real suffering here. So I appreciate you coming on the show to tell your story here, Simon.
And thank you guys so much for taking the time. I know, but I wish it was for better moments and other topics of discussion. But unfortunately, we regroup in tough moments.
Maybe when you're all rebuilt, we'll have you back on, and it'll be a more pleasant conversation.
We'll have you over for coffee as soon as we reopen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, send me that over. Send it over Facebook, and I'll share it so that our listeners can do what they can, man.
Absolutely, everything is appreciated, even just a share. Again, so yeah. Take care, guys. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. And
hey, thank you, sir.
All the best.
Thanks for coming out. Wow. Sad. Crazy story.
Man, it's
you can feel it in his voice, hey? Just
I've known Simon forever, man. We bled together, we cried together, we fought. It's like I used to coach him during some of his championship fights, and he's definitely not a quitter. That's for damn sure, but it sucks, man, because I fully, like, I remember him having, when I met him, he used to pay me in coffee, man. He couldn't afford to pay for my coaching, so I would do it for free. He'd give me coffee. I have a massive coffee addiction, and his coffee is fucking outstanding. But that's all he could afford, right? And he's an immigrant, man. He's from Italy. He showed up here in his 20s, started a business, and here we are. So he's the type of guy that we want to have here in Canada. He's basically the Canadian story, right? So yeah, he's just, man, he's just a good dude. I've known him forever. So anything that we can do to help, I'll definitely obviously create content around this. I'll go see his shop over the weekend. I'll make the time to go see him. And he just sent me the link. So I'm gonna put it, I'm just gonna copy it, and I'm gonna bring it up to I'm gonna share it here in the link. Yeah, it just sucks, man. They don't make, that's the thing, right? A lot of people don't understand that you don't make a lot of money in restaurants, anything that's food
No.
related. Your margins are so small. And like I said, I used to see him selling coffee out of his house. Like, he would refill, in offices, you would have those coffee machines, and somebody shows up, runs through the machine, and fills it up with coffee. That was him. That's when I met him. That's what he did. And then the lockdowns happened. All the offices closed. So he shifted by selling his coffee online. Then when it reopened, he went after that small shop. He has two other more. Like, now he has three, and one of them gets torched. So he is a resilient guy, no questions about it.
That's brutal, but in the timing too, like I gotta assume a week before, like F1 is probably like what 30% of their profit or something for the year.
Like, and he's literally in one of the best spots in Montreal to take advantage of F1. And like he said, most months during the winter he loses money, but they make their money back during summer, and now the business is shut. So yeah, man, it's fuck. It's one of those situations, man. I feel bad for him, man, because he's a good dude.
Yeah, he sounds like it.
Dude.
He sounds like it. You can almost see the different stages of grief in this one conversation. Like, he's got the the shock. Didn't see anger. I mean, it didn't seem like he was angry. Just probably. But man, that's
like, what the fuck.
Yeah, that's a crazy. It's just such a crazy thing. You don't expect it to happen. And as he said, I think at least when he started, I was talking about like, well, I'm assuming there's insurance, but then as he said, like, you don't get insurance for that. No one expects that, and to get that kind of insurance, he said it wouldn't have made sense. Like, it wouldn't have been profitable the entire business. So that's really tough, man. I really feel for him.
The part that sucks even more about this is that, like he was saying, it's in a historical part of Montreal. They do not allow you to do all the work that you want. The business, the front of the business, and even inside, if it turns out that it's been there for a long time, they have to rebuild it.
Oh yeah,
yeah, exactly like it was before. So that you're just adding time and time and time again. And if there's one thing that we all know, is that government workers don't work very fast. So F1 is done. F1 is completely, it's next weekend, not this weekend, but the one next week. So we know that this is done. It's not going to happen. Obviously, he's not going to be rebuilt by that time. So what is he supposed to do? Like, this is the thing. How long is this going to take to rebuild? Because we have no idea. We don't know how long it's going to take for him to rebuild. So it's, man, what a, like you said, you see that on the news all the time. You see people affected by those things, but it's not normally somebody that you know. So
yeah, and yeah, because I mean, I wasn't going to bring it up because it just seemed like it's an obvious thing, and it didn't seem sort of necessary or productive. But once you start talking about like heritage building stuff, because so in St. John, New Brunswick, where I used to live, that's down by the harbor, and there's a part of it that's like it's same thing. Like all the old buildings are like heavily protected, and it's so expensive. They're actually, the value of them, if you want to sell them, is very little, much lower than it would be because they're so expensive. Because if you ever do any repairs whatsoever, it has to be done exactly to a very specific code. Only a very few contractors are even licensed to do that work, and they're charging through the fucking nose. And it's crazy expensive. And yeah, I mean, I really feel for the guy because you can tell he's really suffering.
You know, it's no different in Montreal. Like Montreal, it's in the old port, so you're talking about some of the oldest buildings that we have in Canada. Like, if you've never been to the old port, it is absolutely stunning. What a beautiful! You could see like the
I've driven
background.
through the area. It's beautiful.
If you paid attention to the background, like when he was talking, he's in the old port, so he's just in his car, just looking, just talking to us. But yeah, man, it's I'm just trying to get the link here so that I can share it. But yeah, it's I'll keep up to date. I'll make sure. Here's the link, by the way. I just tagged it in. It doesn't seem to show up properly.
I see it in the.
Yeah, I just don't know if it. I'm gonna go check. Oh yeah, okay. It does show up as a link. So guys, if you have it in your heart, if time's hard for everybody, I fully understand that. But you heard Simon, you heard his story. If you're interested in helping them out, I just put the GoFundMe link in the chat on YouTube. So
Yes, yeah,
yeah,
I'm
man.
gonna donate a couple bucks to it as well, and we'll also we'll I mean we'll get some content made up, but I'll also share that on my X as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see. I'm gonna try to go see him over the weekend to see what I can do to help him out. Because yeah, man, he's just one of those guys that works hard and that should be successful, and shit happens, right? But he's resilient, so I'm sure he'll figure it out. I'll do what I can. So yeah,
Yeah, the link is good.
for the guys out there, for the guys that are listening right now, what do you think? Is that the type of stuff that you want us to do more of? Because when I heard about Simon, I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna help
Well,
him out.
I had asked you, I was like, is there a political angle here? What are you talking about? But then I see what you mean. It's just a friend of yours, good story, just to use our platform for good. And if we can get him a couple bucks to help, then I think it was definitely worth it. When was it, Saturday night or Sunday night?
I believe that it was Saturday night, like Saturday to Sunday. It was early in the morning, so
as Joe says, I never get why people stoop to such chicken shit moves. Did he offend someone? Did someone think he was the wrong kind of immigrant? It makes you wonder. It certainly seemed targeted, right? Just by the video, it could be something as simple as offense. It could be an immigrant thing. I mean, I assume that part of Montreal probably has a lot of immigrants, but you never know.
there's I want to be careful about what I say because I don't want this to affect him. But if you Google it, I invite the people out there, just Google it. There are reports behind the scene or saying what it could be. I did not want to make this political. The point was not to make a statement with this because God knows I could. I just don't want to. It was really just to share a story and to show people what happened. And he's just a regular dude. So no, but there are angles. Some of the guys were, from what I could see, some of the guys were arrested. It does seem like it's targeted. There's multiple other businesses that were hit that same night. So there's kind of a weird angle that I don't know enough to talk about yet. Maybe I'll do some more research as to what's going on. But yeah, if you guys look it up, you'll see that there seemed to be something going on. But hopefully I get to speak about it. But yeah, I'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah, no, I think obviously there's still a lot up in the air.
Yeah, there's a criminal investigation, so I don't want to say anything that could cause any type of issue. That's not the type of stuff. That's not why I wanted to have him on here. But
yeah, but yeah, if they did arrest a couple people, hopefully they might get some closure for it, or at least some reason, even if it is just random. But yeah, they're obviously not very good. Fucking idiots blowing themselves up. And then going to the hospital. Like, I don't know how they thought that was going to attract attention. Show up at 4:30 for a burn wound. And then, of course, hospitals and local police have, they share information and stuff. When you have something like that, they're going to know to call the cops when someone shows up with an injury like that.
If people pay attention to what you're saying, it should say a lot. It should give you some of the ideas that I found out behind the scene that I don't need to talk about. Right. I just don't want him to be in trouble, because it's not things that he talked about. If he hadn't come on the show, I would say it out loud, because I don't really give a fuck about what I say. He's not part of it. I don't want the fact that I know him to affect what's happening to him, to make it worse for him. I don't want to be responsible for causing more trouble. Yep. All I know is that if you do research it and you start looking into it, 2 of the guys who were arrested, there were at least 1 or 2 other businesses that were hit that day. And if you can put 2 and 2 together, you start to realize that there seemed to be something going on here. That's not just him.
Yeah. Yeah, more to follow, I think, on that.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm going to keep an eye on it. Obviously.
And then Prairie, just to get back to kind of somewhat what we talk about, which is complaining about government. As Prairie says, wait until you hear about the hoops the government's going to make this man jump through, and that's true. Especially in a historic or an area designated historic. The permitting you're going to need permits for your permits. It's going to be. Yep. It is going to be it's going to be a long slog. Hopefully the local community pitches in and they're able to sort of support him in this moment. Hopefully he'll be able to raise enough money to make a dent. Like I said, I'm sure he's going to have to dig into his own pockets. No doubt. He told me hopefully we can make it so that he doesn't have to dig too deep.
I hope that the content I create with this is going to help him out. I hope that hopefully there's people with influence that can help him out. But yeah, we'll see. But I'll definitely keep an eye on it. Now, there's a couple other things I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the motion for the Conservative Party, but I feel like laughing a bit prior to that, because this is just such a fucking downer for me since it's Simon. So instead of talking about the motion, I figured I would talk about the climate activist
Greta.
in chief, Greta Thunberg.
She's done quite the rebrand, eh? Because
bro, I shared this morning, right? I'm like, when I see videos like the one I'm gonna show you guys, it's really, doesn't climate change matter anymore? I thought this is, but activists are gonna do what activists do, and they're gonna find new fights to fight when their current fight is not giving them the attention that they seek. So, but at the same time, it's kind of ironic because Greta Thunberg, sorry if you don't know, you probably remember the name. She's the one that told us all that we were the worst people on the planet because we weren't ready to eat bugs and work on solar panel, like just say no to electricity and just embrace solar and wind technology.
It's all out the window. It's all out the window.
But now it's all out the window. Greta Thunberg is for the past year or so has become a Free Palestine advocate. She doesn't care about climate change anymore. She's basically showing us that it was all bullshit from the get-go. But now she is, as per 2 days ago, this is when that video was shared, she is embarking on a trip. She is sailing from Italy to Gaza to go stop and break the Israeli blockade. So that twat right there, that little activist that's been privileged her whole life, that's probably made fucking hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars behind the scene, being the activist that she is now going to go break the blockade between Gaza and Israel. But hold on. What I'm wondering before I show you this, keep that in mind. Who's going to take care of her first? Is it going to be the Palestinian? Because they don't fucking agree with a woman like her. Or is it going to be the IDF? I don't know what's worse. What do you think is worse? Getting caught by the Palestinians or being caught by the IDF? I know if it was up to me, I'd much rather be caught by Israel than be caught by Palestine, but that's just me, right? I'm just a regular white guy from Canada. I'm not an oppressed white woman.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's really funny how all of a sudden she doesn't really care about the environment anymore. And I don't know, have you actually, I'm trying to find this picture I saw of the boat that they're breaking the blockade with. It's literally just like a small sailboat. It's just like privileged fucking wealthy white Westerners who are on a pleasure cruise, right? They're like live streaming and they're all partying on the boat. It's a little boat. There's no real aid in the boat. There's nothing they can actually. Oh yeah, here it is. I'll show you a picture of this. Is what they're breaking the blockade with this here.
Bro, you know that's probably a $200,000, $300,000 boats, right? I don't know for you guys. If you guys don't know, those boats aren't fucking cheap.
Oh no,
that's the type of stuff that is stupid fucking expensive.
But at the same time, like if you're talking about breaking a blockade for 2 million people, that ain't gonna cut it. Most of the stuff in there is probably just booze, and I saw a picture of her the other day on the boat with a glass of wine. I'm like.
How much you want to bet that glass of wine was made of plastic and it ended up in the ocean?
Yeah, exactly, right.
But don't worry, it's not like they're going to go break the blockade of one of the strongest military on the planet. Don't worry about it. Like the IDF, like who's the IDF, right? So let me just if you want to remove your picture there, I'll just put the video on because Bubblehead. I need to show this video. Like, how can you take anything seriously? Just listen to this.
Hello, I am currently standing on the Madeleine, the ship that on Sunday, June 1st, will attempt to again sail towards Gaza and to try to break the siege and open up a humanitarian corridor by delivering aid like food and medical supplies. The last time we attempted this, about a month ago, the boat Conscience that we were about to board, just a couple of hours before we were planning to board and set sail, it got bombed twice, and all evidence suggests that it was Israel who did it.
Oh my God.
So now we are here in Catania, outside of Sicily, to try to continue our mission to try again. Because currently we are watching a systematic starvation of 2 million people, a live stream genocide, and the world's silence is deadly. That is why we have to keep trying everything we can, even if the odds are against us, to try to protest and do everything we can to stand against Israel's atrocities and war crimes, and to support and stand in solidarity with the people of Palestine. So keep your eyes on deck, continue flooding the streets, organize, boycott, and do everything in your power to stand for Palestine.
So one of the things that outside of that, she's a horrible speaker. She's basically, she said, let me just replay this for you just to make sure we all heard her properly. She's basically saying that the last boat they were in a month ago got bombed by Israel. That's what she claims, that Israel bombed that ship that she was on. Really? That's quite the accusation that she's making there with zero proof. But listen to this again.
And set sail. It got bombed twice, and all evidence suggests that it was Israel who did it.
Oh my God.
So now we are here in Catania, outside of...
All evidence, the same evidence you presented us during your climate change activism, the one based on nothing, just based on your opinion and your emotions. Like, I wonder if that's really smart of her. Not and forget about the sailing part. You know what? You want to sell? That's your body. That's your body. No problem. That's your life. I don't really give a fuck what she does with her life. But to start saying, like, however you feel about what's going on over there, to start openly saying that Israel did that to you. So what, they try to kill you? Is that what you're trying to, like, you think that you're that important that Israel bombed you? Bitch, please, you're not making it to fucking Gaza. Like, seriously?
Yeah. I mean,
you're so important. My activism is so important.
It's just narcissism, right? It's just pure narcissism.
And people, but the whole thing, the whole Free Palestine protest crap is all it is to me. All I see when I see that is narcissistic behavior. If you really wanted to fight this, you try. At least she's trying to go. I got to give her that. At least she is trying to go.
Yeah.
However, I care about her, because clearly I don't. At least she's trying. Like, I got to give her that. At least she's trying. But come on.
Yeah.
Let's be serious for a
as
second.
Sasquatch says, there's warships in the way, darling. Like, that pleasure boat ain't going to cut it.
It doesn't matter. They're going to move. It's Greta Thunberg, everybody.
Oh, yeah, it's Greta. It's Greta. I saw this thing. I saw a funny clip. There's like, now we know where all the food that got sent to Gaza went, because she's
pudgy, yeah.
Yeah,
she.
I don't want to.
Looking healthy.
I don't want to pick on. Yeah, she's looking very healthy. I don't want to pick on a girl's weight, but
oh, fuck that shit. She fat, bro. She gained weight. She's been on the same train as Rob Ford. Like, they've probably been eating at the same places, because she hasn't been skipping meals. I can tell you that much.
No, that's for sure.
And the food that's on the boat, Greta, was not meant for you, right?
No, exactly. But it's we got a bunch of hate, but we ate most of it. So
we'll go. Sorry, but we're here to support.
We created a lot of content, though. Don't worry. And of course, they're all like, oh, okay, yeah. Fucking, it's all nonsense. It's all theater. It's all virtue signaling. There's nothing Greta Thunberg is going to fucking do that the IDF is not allowing her to do.
Okay, forget Israel. The Palestine people don't like you. She's the same type of twat that's gonna say queers for Palestine. Like, come on, like, let's be honest here. They don't like you. You cannot show up the way you're dressed right now, woman. Like, this is not Israel. Israel, you could. They'd welcome you the way you're dressed. But funny enough, Palestine don't want their women to be dressed the way you are. Just saying.
That's not gonna fly there.
Oh, ouch. Sasquatch is saying that Rob Ford might be stealing the food meant for Gaza. Someone starts an investigation, and the rest of the food that he's not eating, Thunberg has been eating it. So no matter what, they're not helping the Palestinian. And I just can't believe that people are falling for this shit. I had to show it because it's Greta. Like, it seems, I made this point so many times in the past, where activists always need a cause, and when their cause is not good enough anymore, they skip to a different cause that is more interesting, that will put more eyeballs on them. But it's never
more trendy.
But it's not about the cause. She doesn't give a fuck. If the trendy thing was to stand up for Israel, she'd be standing 100%. Up for Israel. She doesn't
1,000,000%. It's a personality type, this activism, right? And it doesn't matter what they're activating for. It's just that they're out there activating. They're fighting the war. It's exactly how the trans stuff came. 2015 happened, and the gay rights movement, the LGBs, they won marriage equality, and the war was done. But by now, there's already a lot of infrastructure built up. There's a lot of people in very cushy jobs who are making 6-figure salaries as an activist, and they don't want the war to be done. That's their gravy train. And so they looked around and said, okay, well, fuck, we got to, if there's no war to fight, we'll create a war. So they created this idea that men can become women and that we need to accept that or we are homophobic. And it's all, as Trace is. Bombed twice and still floating. That little fucking pleasure cruise. If the IDF wanted that gone, it would be gone in 2 seconds.
And they wouldn't bomb you.
No.
They drone you.
Yes.
Like they would be a drone just for you.
Yes.
Just for you. The boat wouldn't explode. You would just be not alive anymore.
He'd be unalive.
It's just narcissist behavior where me, see what I'm doing, me. You know, if this doesn't work, how much you want to bet she's coming out as trans?
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, she's kind of halfway there anyways. But yeah.
Turns out she was a dude all along.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, it's exactly. It's the trendy thing, and she just jumps on it, and it's crazy, eh? How the Gaza thing has always been the or not always. It's always been part of left wing activism, but since October 7th, like it has been the center of it. Like they've been, like I'm seeing stuff now that's like this. They're like. The Palestinian cause is the cause because it's like affects everything. And they've got all like environmental activism, gay rights, and I'm like, gay rights? What are you talking about? Like they throw gay people off buildings there. They put gay people to death there.
That's not true. They want to learn how to fly.
Yeah. But like you can't talk logic with these people, right? They're just fucking lunatics.
But I wanted to show something because this is not related to this, as in it's not about Greta Thunberg, but when I saw the video by Wesley Austin, I'm like, maybe I wonder if maybe that's why Greta is not talking about climate change anymore and she moved to a different gravy train, because what he talks about is what's happening with the Antarctic ice sheets. I don't know if you saw that, but there've been a bunch of reports coming in that it's grown over the past few years, that we're not losing it anymore. So just listen to this. And as I was watching it this morning, I'm like, oh fuck, maybe that's why Greta Thunberg is now going to Gaza. Oh no, hold on. I don't know why Instagram does that it's always off the mute. There you go.
A new study reports that the Antarctic ice sheet unexpectedly gained mass between 2021 and 2023, reversing decades of ice loss. Researchers found that it added 108 gigatons of ice per year during this period. Now, to put that in perspective, a gigaton is the same amount of syrup I use on a pancake. I thought we were told that ice caps were supposed to be completely melted by 10 years ago.
There is a 75% chance that the entire North Polar ice cap during some of the summer months could be completely ice-free within the next 5 to 7 years.
Scientists are baffled by the Antarctic ice growth. I haven't seen climate experts this confused since they tried explaining why they all fly private jets to climate conferences.
So I wonder if that has to do with her decision of changing topics, because clearly we're still here. Clearly, I think I'm still here, unless I'm dreaming again. But
we're not underwater. You know, we're not. The polar ice caps are still there, and it does seem like there's a lot of signs that the narrative is shifting, right? I mean, that you could take the Greta Thunberg shift as one of them, but there's all kinds of them, you know, like the actual data, like the ice sheets, that's going the opposite direction of what the narrative is telling us. And just, it seems like people just aren't that concerned about it anymore. And it makes you wonder if it was actually real, like why would that, I don't know. I think like they clearly overplayed their hand, the governments and the NGOs, by just shoving this down their throats and then adding useless taxes that aren't going to do anything, make it a money grab. But it is funny how remember a couple of years ago, it seemed like it was like, you would have sworn like climate, like the world's going to end fucking 2 years from now, 3 years from now. And now that it hasn't, because that's what they were all saying. They were saying 5 years, 10 years, but they've been saying that for 40 years now. So at some point, people are going to be like, it's like those doomsday cults, and they always say the world's going to end on this date, and then it never happens. And then they change the date. And then at some point, you just stop listening to them.
What's funny is that you remember this video, right? Of Thunberg. You know what? Let's play it. Let's just, it's a minute long. It's just to remind you who she is, because her favorite speech, that's the best speech she's ever done.
It's all wrong.
Oh.
I should be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying.
Oh my Jesus.
Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money.
Gaza.
And fairy tales of growth. How dare you?
Oh my God! You sanctimonious twit!
Look at this. You know when you turn your comments off on a video?
Yeah.
You know why? It's not because people agree with you.
Yeah. I like, and that's what I mean. Like 5 years, whenever when was that speech made? Like what was
5 years ago, give or take? Yeah. 5 years ago.
There was an environment where you could be lectured by a fucking child, by a 10-year or 12-year-old child like that. And everyone is like, oh, yes, let's listen to what the fucking child who has no clue what she's talking about. Let's all shame ourselves because she's up there being extremely dramatic. People for whatever reason gave that shit weight back then. And now it's just like, you're an idiot. Like, stop talking. And of course, she's not even talking about that anymore. Now it's Gaza, right? And then later it's going to be, the trans thing. It's going to be something else.
What I find interesting is that she's gone worse as a speaker. She used that was actually good. And the Oscar
from an oratory perspective, it's probably, I think she probably meant that maybe at the time, and now she knows it's all bullshit. I think she did at the time. And now she's just like, but now she's in too deep. She's got to be an activist. But now it's all just about activism for the sake of activism.
Oh, brother. But sorry, guys, I had to play it because I was laughing my ass off when I saw that this morning. Because all I can remember is that speech. Like, how dare you?
How dare you? How dare you? You're stealing my dream. What fucking dreams do you have? Like, you're 15 years old. You don't even know what you're talking about. Like, and what was she like? What was changing? Like, what the polar ice caps were still there. Like, nothing had actually changed. The only, like she it's just so funny. Like, these Western activists who are like so privileged, and they're only privileged because they're coming from a society that has grown wealthy on fossil fuels, and they have the luxury of standing there to complain. I guarantee you, all the third world countries, they're not complaining about burning fossil fuels. They're trying to burn them wherever they can to increase productivity for their GDP and create products and make money. But over here, we've got the luxury because of this of the wealth and success that burning fossil fuels has allowed us to build our society to a point where we have the luxury of complaining about it. Right? Third world countries, they don't have that luxury.
I don't even need to add to what you just said. I've been talking against this for years now. Every time she appears, I'm gonna make fun of her because she is just.
I'm gonna and anytime we've had something on the screen today, it never shows up for me. Even when we had Simon, it's just on there. I'm just gonna jump out and jump back in and see if that does anything. Just give me 1 second.
That's fine. So let's take some of those comments here while Rob is gone. Sasquatch, Greta became a meme in the US. No one pays attention to her. If only that was true, man. Because she is definitely a meme, but at the same time, man, people do pay attention to her. Because if nobody did, she wouldn't get the attention that she's getting right now. So unfortunately, she does receive attention. Let me
How
just get
dare
out
you.
and back in so that you're on.
How? Oh, there we go.
Boom, boom.
Oh.
And it
Oh,
worked.
we had it.
No, we did it.
What for a split second?
Yeah, see,
Like
I'm
right
still
there.
reappear.
I see on my screen you're on the left right now, or I'm on the left as I normally am.
See, I think they might be having problems with the software
that's
'cause on
so-
my
that-
side. I'm going to keep on looking on the
That's-
wrong side. Whatever. It is what it is, man.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Let's go see if Greta actually goes to Gaza to protest. She is a girl walking.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
She has enough fat to last a while at least.
So
She's not
far.
gonna die of hunger.
No. That's for sure.
Storm is saying
She's
she's
tied
tied
to
to
Mark
Mark Carney and the WEF. She's definitely tied to the WEF
Oh,
and
yeah.
Mark Carney. That there's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised she might be at the G7. Who knows if she makes it out safely of Gaza? Maybe she's gonna join Zelensky and come to the G7. Maybe they can take a boat together or something. Because see, that's one I'm surprised she's not involved with. Maybe soon, maybe when Gaza doesn't work out and the trans agenda loses steam, she'll back Ukraine and go fight for them. Maybe she'll put a little army suit and start fighting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She'll be out there on the front lines.
Oh, of course she'll be on the front line doing the right thing. Of course, it's Greta. After all, she knows best. She knows better than you and I do,
Yeah,
bro.
absolutely, she does, and we've stolen her dreams.
It's all our fault, man. It's all our fault. I apologize to Greta. If it wasn't for me and my gas truck, she would be in school not getting the attention that she deserves. Or not the attention she doesn't deserve. Either way, she'd be in school, but it's all my fault.
Also,
I'm a white guy that drives a truck, right?
This also works for me again, or now because I actually see that thing on the stage.
And now I don't.
Oh, really? That's so weird.
Yeah. Let me leave and come back. Hopefully that
Okay.
doesn't crash this, but let's see.
No, I'll stay in. Does anyone know why Modi wasn't invited to the G7? I think well, I mean, India is not part of the G7, but should he have got like a special invite like Zelensky did? Yeah, I could see why they might, but I don't know that it's a given. I don't know if like Modi was any of the last ones. Typically, I mean, what is the G7, right? It's U.S., Canada, UK, Germany, France, Italy. What's that?
And
What's that last
Japan,
one?
if not mistaken. I
think
believe
you're right.
it's Japan.
Yeah,
isn't
I think you're right. You're right. So you've got those. You've got
gonna make
those.
sure, but I think it is Japan.
I think you're right. I think that's a good guess. And then you've got, so these are typically supposed to be, I guess, what the Western industrialized big economies. And so India is obviously not typically like part of it, but they can invite people, right? Like, I don't know if like they invited Zelensky and that was a big fuck you to Trump, but they, as far as why, I don't know. You know, I think, you know, India's in an interesting position just based on where they are geographically. I think China's trying to gain influence it just in the global sphere. And India's probably a battleground. Obviously, somewhere in the West, we're trying to get closer ties. And maybe that's why. Remember, we've talked about like why do we have so many Indian immigrants here in Canada? 40% of our immigrants come from India. Maybe that was a conscious decision in order to try to forge stronger ties to India. But yeah, that's, I mean, if that were the case, you would think they would have invited Modi to the G7, but I'm not sure about them.
So it is Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and the United States. Those are the 7 countries part of the G7. We were good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, why they didn't invite India. I guess I'm not sure exactly why, but
They're already here.
Oh, well, yeah, they're already here. Canada's already here, so India's here.
We don't need to invite them. They're here. They're already here. Plus, we've been inviting them for years now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've been inviting open doors for many years.
Oh boy. Let us switch to the conservative thing, because the conservative supposedly I'm curious to see what comes out of this. I'm not because it's not binding like we were talking about earlier. The conservatives have passed a motion ordering Mark Carney and his liberals to table a full spring budget, but it seems that it's not binding, and it seems that it's not just a budget, that it could be also just a report. So maybe we'll get a note on a piece of paper, like on a napkin, saying that we're taking $500 billion and we think that we might spend it.
Does this work for you now? Like that's on stage for you, or that's in
Yeah,
the?
yeah.
Okay, all right, we're good.
Yep. So this is, by the way, this is, who was he? Oh, this is Michael Barrett.
Okay.
He posted this video. There's not a lot on that motion. It seems like the CBC and CTV News don't really like the fact that the liberals are getting questioned for a budget, because they're not really reporting on this much. But here is Michael Barrett speaking about what's going on.
Me for this parliamentary session is that a conservative motion requiring an accounting of Canada's finances, with Mark Carney having to produce a budget this spring. Now, Prime Minister Carney said he wasn't going to produce a budget at all this year, then said he would do it this fall. And then he tabled a bill with $500 billion in spending. Now, this is extraordinary. He said he was going to cap increases to government spending at 2%. This is an 8% increase. It also sees massive increases to consultants outside of government. I want you to think Arrive scam when we talk about consultants. So we need accountability. We need to see what's happening with this $500 billion. Is this more inflationary spending? And is that why the Carney Liberals don't want it scrutinized by parliamentary committees and by members of parliament from all parties? So this is a big win, and it's important. This is an important test for the new prime minister, because he doesn't have a majority. So will he meet the deadline and get this budget in front of parliamentarians this spring? Well, stay tuned. We're just getting started.
I didn't watch the video in full screen before, but that guy kind of freaks me out. His eyes are too blue. But look at the guy's eyes, man. They're freaky. Like, look at this. Like,
oh shit! Yeah.
I was looking at him. I'm like, stop.
Motherfuckers,
don't sell me anything, because I'm gonna buy it.
That's an Aryan for sure.
Oh yeah. Obviously. So here's what I was able to find. I found something earlier on the results of the votes, because that was the video I just showed you was from yesterday. But I thought about 4 hours ago, this was published, and I believe. Hold on, let me check who this guy is before. Yeah, see, that's what I thought. So he is an MP for Calgary East, shadow minister of finance, so he's definitely a conservative. And he posted 4 hours ago, so I will tend to believe him because he's an MP and he was fucking there, that the conservative amendment to the throne speech narrowly passes despite liberal opposition. It passes 166 to 164 with all the opposition parties to support. All Liberals MP voted against it, but there were 4 no-shows, allowing the motion to pass. I'm a bit confused, though. 164 to 166. 166 sounds about right if you add the Conservative, the Bloc, and whatever the NDP is now when it comes to vote. But I'm kind of confused. 164, I thought how many votes do they have? I thought they had 160. Like the Liberals, I thought they were at 160. Let me go check
Okay,
that
I
out.
thought it was like 169 or something, wasn't it? Because
Oh, is it 170? No, it is. You're
172
right.
was the majority, and I think they almost got there.
You're right. I was thinking 162 or 163. Nah, you're right. So technically, we're seeing that the first thing the Liberals try to push doesn't work, and they're being called on, which I'm very surprised. I'm kind of what the fuck's happening, but they're basically. I'm going to keep an eye on what the amount of votes were, because I'm curious to see, because 166 to 164, it sounds a bit low if everybody voted against the Liberal, because I thought that if you put them all together,
Yep.
since they're a minority, that means that everybody else should be able to be equal to them, or at least one more. But that might be me mistake.
I think so.
Mistaking.
I think so, but it would require like all the NDP, all the Conservatives, all the Bloc, and the Green. I think it's not an official majority, but like in practice, I'm pretty sure it's as good as a majority.
So 169 as per. Let me show this then. So as per the CBC election results, we're talking about 169 for the Liberals, 144 for the Conservative, 22 for the Bloc, NDP 7 plus 1 for the Green Party. So you're looking 174. So you're 174 versus 169. So technically, even if the Liberals all show up, it's still possible for a coalition of Conservative, Greens, and NDP in the Bloc.
That would have to be, yeah. It would have to be like, yeah. I don't think Carney could ever fuck up that bad to make a coalition like that happen.
What would you call it? The cons bloc Demo Green. The cons bloc Demo Green. There you go. That's the coalition. Thank God Elizabeth May is there. Thank God.
Yes, yeah. She'll be.
All you have to do is keep her drunk.
She'll be
Give
the
her
linchpin.
Give her enough money that give her enough alcohol so that she can show up drunk and wobbly, like she did at the speech from the throne, and they'll be good. They'll be okay. This is something I'm not sure I understand. Spiker Hond. That's an interesting name, man. Spiker Hond saying, didn't he whack a bloke in Canada a year or so ago? What the fuck is he talking about?
That was
that's what you're talking about.
A giant scandal. I don't know the specific details about it, but it was like one of the Khalistani. I believe. I don't know if it was proven it was Modi specifically. That's one of those things where he at least was aware of it and gave the green light. But they had someone who was deemed to be a terrorist over in India, and he's over here getting declared refugee status over here in Canada. And I think he might even be a Canadian citizen, but he's also a Khalistani activist. And Modi had him killed. And obviously that's a diplomatic scandal if you're assassinating people in other countries. But of course, Trudeau was like a pussy as normal. And he was weak, and he didn't really hold him accountable.
Canada denies it has evidence. I have it here.
Okay, you got it there.
So Canada denies it has evidence linking Modi to killing 6 separatists. Yeah.
Which is bullshit.
No, it denies it.
We know he did it, but it would force us to have to take a stand if we admitted it. So Trudeau pretended we didn't know, and then we don't have to stand up to Modi.
You know what's funny is that when I Googled it, I didn't write Modi, I wrote Moby. Not quite the same guy. You know who Moby is, right?
Moby.
The vegan twat.
So like weak chin, very low testosterone, soy
zero
boy.
Testosterone,
Yeah.
000. I'm pretty sure that he's friends with Thunberg.
Oh yeah, no, he is. They kind of look.
I'm pretty sure that they actually record. I'm pretty sure
you mean
that
actually? You mean like literally? Actually, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I thought I've seen them together. I might be wrong. Maybe I thought that Moby was Thunberg with a wig. Maybe I was mistaken. Maybe. But
they kind of do have that like weak chin and like that whole look between the two of them.
Looking at what Greta looked like earlier, she has more of a chin than Moby.
That's bad. That's really bad. Well, she's got several of them now, doesn't she? She's got a couple of the. She's got a couple chins. But yeah, not to pick on a girl, but for her weight. But whatever. Sometimes you got to use what you can.
If you're going to be in the public eye, you're going to have assholes making fun of you. And
yeah, exactly.
Today,
it is what it
we
is.
are those assholes.
Me and you, we do it each other all the time too.
Yeah, no, it's true. I will make fun of women like I do every day. So
yeah. Well, I mean you either want equality or you don't. You know what I mean? It's funny because it seems like a lot of times, they want equality when it suits them, but not equality when it doesn't. Special treatment when it doesn't suit them, when equality doesn't suit them. Like, you get you'll get like a couple who maybe is fighting and like the guys raise his voice or yelling and people are like, oh, you can't raise your voice. And one like, well, I would yell at a man in the same situation. You either want equality or you don't.
Not the same.
But yeah, no, it's just there's so many times when or I would make fun of a man for his looks, sure, but but if I can't make fun of a woman just because she's a woman, then you're saying you don't necessarily believe in equality, right? If I can do special treatment too, I mean that's my preference. I would rather treat women as sort of like put them on a pedestal and treat them like that, but they don't want that. If you want equality, this is equality. And I mean, if I would make fun of a man in this situation, but I don't just because it's a woman, then I mean, that right there is that sexist? It's all turning the arguments on their head by a lot of these ideologies.
You're gonna piss off Therese. Therese is not happy about this.
Not
all women, Robbie.
No, I know that for sure.
Not all women.
I'm talking sort of like the activists. I know, honestly, in real life, most women kind of don't really. Most women don't demand, I don't think, equal treatment. A lot of it's activists, people online. But yeah, it is a mess.
Mad Dog, I don't think it's equity. I think it's equality.
So, I mean, a lot of people, I think, especially if you're not versed in some of these debates, they think those are the same thing. But equity means something different, especially when the activists say it. I think equality is what we all think should happen, where everyone's treated the same. I believe equality is equality of opportunity. But when the activists say equity, yes, I was literally going to look for that. I was going to say, there's that thing with where people are looking over a fence.
But I don't like that one as much. Like how much it has evolved. The one I was aware of is this one. Do you see the difference?
Yes. Wait.
No, look at that. This. See, those are all but those are all Mexicans. Nobody cares, right? Now you have a black guy, you have an Asian girl, and you have a woman, probably a guy, a trans in a wheelchair. See how it evolved? This was not enough. It had to be woke. It had to be wokeified. Fuck.
Yeah. The original woke equity wasn't even enough. But if you just go back to the original one, because I feel like that's probably
this new one. You do even Maddock is like, no, I meant equality is what I meant.
Yeah. Google technologies against you.
Thanks. Which one you want? That one?
Yeah, that one. Yeah. So I mean that, and that's what they mean. So obviously in this exact example, yes, we can all see how you should give the fucking 4-year-old the 2 boxes. But what the problem is when they try to extrapolate that to the real world, what they're saying is when equity, what they mean is equality of outcomes. And that just, as a rule, cannot work when you apply it to, the broader picture, bigger, like society at large. Because, yeah, that's right. But yeah, it's funny. I've seen that they've done so many memes off of that.
Oh, it's just, I like this one the best, I think. This one is the best. So let's take away from the blacks and give it to the whites. Is that what you're trying?
Oh, you know that's done intentionally, right? Because in reality, it never works like that, right? But they
course
want to
not.
make it seem it's so funny.
You know
Come
that in real
on.
life, we would have to take from the little white guy, the little
Yes,
white kid,
that's exactly
give
what
it to the black.
Yeah,
Oh,
ex-
it's just funny.
exactly. Yeah, but in
There's
the cartoonish pictures, they always make it look like that.
Oh shit, they added another one. Reality, equality, equity, and liberation. You just removed the fence. The fact that they're all Mexicans, does that mean that it's too hard for them to jump the fence? They just want to walk through? Is that what I'm getting from this? Did you hear do you know why Mexico's Olympic teams really suck?
Why? All the
Because
fast ones that
everybody
can run and jump and
everybody that can run, jump, and swim is already in the US. Oops.
yeah, it's so
Hey-o.
funny.
Oh, I love that. That joke is awesome. That joke is great. I love racist jokes. They're awesome. I don't care if they're against white guy. I like religious joke. Make fun of Christian. Like, I think they're hilarious. So you're not gonna hurt my feelings. Man, there's a couple of other things I wanted to talk about. You tell me, what is it? 142. We got some time. So we spoke about the motion. We'll keep an eye on it, obviously, to see if they stick to it. Because either way, we don't have to wait that long. We need 2 weeks. They're going to be on break soon again. So if they don't do it before the break, obviously they didn't give a fuck. They didn't respect the motion, but it seems like it's non-binding. So probably nothing's going to happen.
I'll just take a couple comments just from the end of that equity conversation because there's a couple funny ones.
Whoops.
Sasquatch says, find a hardcore feminist who will pay for dinner. They don't exist. Equality argument starts to crumble. Well, that's a great point. That's probably a better example of what I was trying to explain, but exactly correct, right? Equality when it suits them, but special treatment when that suits them. And just from a pure sense of fairness, you can't get on board with that. Like, if you want equality, okay, let's do it that way. But then you can't complain if be like, oh, how dare a man yell at a woman? Well, I yell at a man in the same situation too. I'm not yelling at her because she's a woman. That would be sexist. I'm not going to use I wouldn't call woman, the C word, for example. Like that's
was that cunt?
Like, yes. Just sort of like my honor code or whatever. But like, if you want true equality, and let's say there's a situation where I would yell at a man in the same scenario, then you can't be upset and you can't be like, oh man, yell at a woman. If you want equality, that's what equality means in all its cases. Now, if you want equal treatment, I prefer that. Then let's do that. But then you can't, yell the equality all the time card when it suits you. You got to make up your mind, right?
Before we jump, just because Sasquatch brought it up and because you're talking about this, have you ever seen this video? This explains it so well.
Yeah.
It is such a
I
great
love this so much.
So if you haven't seen this, this is equality right there.
I wish all men were feminists like you.
All right, here's that check for you, sir. Second of all, how dare you assume that because I'm a man that I'm going to be paying for this whole dinner? Women are fully capable of paying for themselves.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want me to split the bill between you two then?
Actually, why don't we do this so we can really drive this point home for you, because you're giving me very misogynistic vibes right now. Keep the entire bill, and she will pay for the entire thing because she is a strong, independent woman who does not need a man to provide for her. As a feminist woman, wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, I guess.
In that case, here's the check, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, this is expensive.
Oh, you got it.
Are you gonna help me?
Absolutely not. As a feminist man, I don't want to imply that you can't defend yourself just because you're a woman.
Are you serious right now?
No. Relationship. As a feminist woman, wouldn't you agree with that?
All right, this. I'm dating a conservative. I wish all men were feminists.
Yeah, it's so true too, right? Like, it's obviously an extreme exaggeration for humorous effect, but like everything hits home, like everything that they're saying there, because that's what they want. That's what they want, and you can't have it both ways. Chicken or fish. It's one or the other. You can't have them both.
I want a fish chicken.
Fish, chicken, they don't exist. Chicken, fish doesn't exist.
I want to fish a chicken.
No, can't do it.
No?
Can't do it. You got to pick one or the other.
So what do you want to do? Do you want to talk about, hold on. Let's talk about this, because technically that goes with somewhat of the topic right now. I don't know if you saw this, but there is a man that was arrested yesterday in Toronto Union Station for hate motivated assault. He was just assaulting women in the Toronto Union Station. So I thought I'd bring it up because somebody I know, a conservative, somebody that ran for the Conservative Party, posted that yesterday. And Toronto police arrest man after alleged anti-women assault spree. So in the Toronto Union Station, this man right here, this guy right here, surprisingly, he doesn't like women. I don't know. Kevin Thomas Delgado Pina, 23, no fixed address, was charged for 10 counts of assault. Police added that following his arrest, Pina made allegedly anti-women comments. So I'm very curious to see. We don't know much yet. That's about what they say. Like, they don't say much, but the guy was assaulting women, supposedly, allegedly, assaulted women in the Toronto Union Station yesterday. I'm just curious, since he's a brown guy, let's be honest here. If that was a white guy, we'd hear about this on CBC.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But because he's not a white guy, clearly, I pointed at the picture on purpose. Like this picture right here. Right?
Yeah.
Clearly, he's not a white guy. I wonder, because this morning when I was looking, you know what's funny? I could see, that's why I'm showing Juno, because I don't normally use them that much for a source of information, but I use other places. No videos. I was not able to find one single. I saw articles, but no videos. Nobody is recording a video about this, and I wonder if it's a coincidence.
I don't think it is. I feel like I can't put my finger on it, but I feel like there's a reason. There's a specific reason. Yeah, it's it's just the media is fully complicit, right? The media is on board. In fact, the media is probably the number one vehicle by which this sort of woke nonsense gets spread. These identity politics, the idea that there's certain racial groups that need to be protected, and certain ones that you can throw them under the buses, and it's no harm. But we need to get away from it.
That's interesting because I often like to look at the comments on such posts. This is Rob Schneiser. I don't know if you remember him, but he was on stage with Pierre Poliev during his campaign when he was just outside of Toronto. He's a guy I used to do martial arts with years and years ago. Either way, he was a candidate for the Conservative Party, but he posted this. This is how I learned about it. But you look at Pocket Aces, one of his comments. What bothers me most about this story is that no good Samaritans intervened. I'm there several times a week and would have. I'm sure my friends would have as well. And this, as much as I agree with the statement 1,000% that men should do more, men should defend women, should intervene when they have to, because that's what we're supposed to do. At the same time, you got guys like Daniel Penny that almost got his life ruined.
Yes,
for dealing with an actual threat. So as much as I think, as a guy, as a martial artist, as a guy that knows how to take care of others, I would, no matter the consequences. I'm not surprised to see men saying, like, no, thank you.
Well, and that's exactly what we were just talking about with the, like, oh, you want equality or you want something when it helps them, but then when the consequences of that hit, everyone pretends like, oh, where's everyone? For example, in that exact scenario you gave, like, everyone's like, oh, where are the Good Samaritans? Well, the Good Samaritans stopped doing it because you started charging them with murder whenever they tried to stand up and protect people. So you can't have it both ways. You either want people to defend innocent and vulnerable people in society, or you don't. But if you think that you do, then you can't go around charging people when, like, people coked up to the gills, shitting their pants like hobos whose bodies are fucking barely hanging on to life, get their ass kicked, and then that ends up, being the final straw for them.
I just No, Detective Gaines. I'm not saying that it wasn't reported. I said there was no videos. There's a difference because most people don't read articles, but most people watch videos.
Well, and what you'll do is when you see a video, you'll see things. Like, have you ever noticed how media will regularly report on a suspect's race when he's white? They'll be like, hey, the suspect was white or whatnot, but they will never do it if it's a person of color or a minority. They won't do it. They like, unless it's like absolutely relevant. Like, or if a white guy, let's say a white guy beats the shit out of a black guy, it will always report that it was a white guy beating up a black guy. But if it's reverse, it'll just be two men fighting. It'll be one man charged with assault on another man. And like this stuff, it's going on, it's happening, and there's a specific reason for it, and it's to push a narrative. The narrative is that there are some racial groups, identity groups that can be thrown under the bus or harmed, or you can say whatever you want. It's okay to attack them just for their identity or their race, and there are others that is not. You can't have favorite identity groups and non-favorite identity groups. You can't do it. You just have to treat everybody equally. Now, these activists will tell you that just saying that is racist. They actually will say things like, to say that we should treat everyone equally is a racist dog whistle. That's bullshit. It is not. It's not racist to say we should treat everyone equally.
That's what I meant, Detective. There's no look at the screen. You go video. There's one weird ass fucking video that comes from a dude on Instagram. None of it is talking about this. 2 weeks, September 20th, October, nothing. Like nothing. Like, even look at the pictures. Just look at the fucking pictures. Like, they're talking about it. That's the Toronto Police. CBC is a fucking Union Station picture. Powell River Peak, what the fuck that is on. Toronto Sun is right-leaning, so they have his picture. Oh, CTV News actually has his picture, but as you said, there's no mention. Oh, as Detective Gaines is saying, yeah, there's no mention of race or pictures of him. There are pictures of him, but there's not going to be any mention of his race. But we all know that if I was going around Toronto Union Station harassing women as a white guy, my picture would be everywhere. There would be videos of me already out there. So,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, what's going on, Cheryl? It's very, very hard for us to look at this and say, oh no, it's all kosher. Everything is as it should. There's no difference if it was somebody that is non-brown.
I know. It's just, you come to expect it, but it's still, you still got to call it out. You still got to call it out when you see it. But yeah, like, they got their marching order, and you know what they'll tell each other, that what they say is like, oh, well, it'll just perpetuate harmful stereotypes. Fuck that shit, man. Just report facts. Just report the facts. Either report everybody's race or nobody's. But like, you got to report fact. You can't have favored identity groups where it's okay to fucking, perpetuate stereotypes against them, but it's not okay. It's just, it doesn't work in a diverse society like we have. You cannot have identity groups that you treat differently. Like, you can't fight against racism by a new type of racism. There can't be like good racism and bad racism. There can only be racism, and say we're against all of it.
Well, you're giving me kind of a perfect segue here, because I wanted to talk about this yesterday. We lacked the time, but there was this video that came out. One of my followers on Instagram sent me this. It's Brian Liley. Brian Liley. He's a Toronto Sun columnist, I guess you would call him. He made a video with Lori Goldstein and Kinzel Warren. I saw that a couple of days ago. I wanted to talk about it yesterday, but we ran out of time. But they talk about two-tier policing. So it's interesting. The other articles kind of brings this one over. But I wanted to show you this video. I might not let it run altogether because it's almost 6 minutes long, but you'll get the point pretty fast. But then I found a video this morning of Patrick Bet-David that he released last month, and he talks about why that could be happening right now, and it's very fucking interesting. So let's check some of the this video right here.
In Canada? Well, definitely we do here in Toronto. That's my experience. Hi, I'm Brian Lilley, political columnist with the Toronto Sun. Joining me to talk about this ongoing problem, Laurie Goldstein and Warren Kinsella, both columnists in their own right for the Sun. And Warren, I was at Nathan Phillips Square on Wednesday night. It was the 600th day since Hamas took hostages out of Israel, 58 of them still being held. And it was a small gathering of people trying to have a commemoration, and they wanted to shut us down. Corporate security was there, Toronto City Hall staff were there, the police were there, and you could see City Hall staff trying to get this whole thing shut down. I've never seen that with the guys carrying Palestinian flags. And do we have two-tier policing in Canada? Well, definitely we do here in Toronto. That's my experience. Hi, I'm Brian Lilley, political columnist with the Toronto Sun. Joining me to talk about this ongoing problem, Laurie Goldstein and Warren Kinsella, both columnists in their own right for the Sun. And
just leave it.
Warren, I was at Nathan Phillips Square on Wednesday night. It was the 600th day since Hamas took hostages out of Israel, 58 of them still being held. And it was a small gathering of people trying to have a commemoration, and they wanted to shut us down. Corporate security was there, Toronto City Hall staff were there, the police were there, and you could see City Hall staff trying to get this whole thing shut down. I've never seen that with the guys carrying Palestinian flags. In fact, I said that to the security guard, saying, if you don't leave, you'll be arrested. I said, you wouldn't be doing this if we had the other flags. I said to folks that were with me in this small group, I said, does anyone have a yoga mat? We can call it a prayer mat, and then they'll leave us alone. There's a real problem with two-tier policing on the protest front. Small, peaceful protests are harassed. Large, aggressive, sometimes violent ones are left alone.
I encourage people, don't listen to me. Don't listen to Brian. Don't listen. Laurie writes great editorials on this. Brian writes great coverage and columns on this. But don't listen to us. Go to Kareem Assad. Kareem Assad is a young lawyer in Toronto who films these protests. She is half Palestinian. You will see footage of her at the Casa Loma event. A former Israeli diplomat appeared to speak. It was a mob scene.
This is the Abraham Global Peace Initiative, and they're denouncing peace.
Yeah, that's not the focus. What I'm saying to people is go and look at the footage. You will see someone on camera.
Yeah, I've seen some of her videos before.
It sounded like a death threat to me. To Kareem Assad.
She's not a conservative. She's not a liberal. She just reports the news.
Doing
it's actually pretty solid.
And this is symptomatic of what we've seen of shooting up of Jewish schools, firebombing of synagogues and Jewish community centers, threats against businesses like Heather Reisman's, over and over, mobs coming into Jewish neighborhoods to intimidate and threaten individual Jewish citizens. Canada has one of the worst reputations for anti-Semitism in the world, and the capital, the epicenter of anti-Semitism in Canada is in the city of Toronto because of Olivia Chow and because of Myron Demkiw, who is the chief of police. Both of them deserve to be defeated and removed as a consequence of their shameless abdication of leadership and their abandonment of a minority that represents 1.4% of the population in this country and is experiencing 70% of the hate crimes. The two of them are a disgrace and they need to go. And as you can probably tell, I have had it. Enough.
Laurie, I know every time we've talked about this in the past, you've got a little bit of a different take.
Or a woman
you live in a very predominantly Jewish neighborhood. You have been complimentary to the police for the command centers that they've had in your neighborhood since October 7th. And I appreciate that. And when I was at the Walk with Israel, there was a large presence. But these problems and these issues at the leadership level, things like the planning guide that went out for the Nakba Day march that sounded like it was written by the organizers, not a quote, but saying that this event marks the ethnic cleansing of Palestine. This has to be bothersome.
It's mindful to me of a lawyer friend of mine who said to me years ago, and he was talking about family disputes and divorce cases. And he said, the most accommodation will be given to the most unreasonable party. When you think about it, it's kind of logical. The police are confronted with a problem. They have two communities very passionately, feeling about an international issue.
This is a great interview.
I really like his
objectively is the more reasonable. It's the one that goes out and, at all the things that Warren referred to: smoke bombs, demonstrating outside Jewish hospitals, shooting at day schools, Jewish day schools, swastikas, cemeteries defaced. That's what one side does. The other side just had 56,000 people, and I believe both of you were there.
Yeah.
Peaceful march in support of Israel. And the only reason police were needed was to keep that other group of much smaller numbers away. But this has been going on for a long time in policing, I think generally, and in Toronto. They have made their primary goal to, in a superficial way, keep the peace. Keep the peace. So how do you do that when there are 10 people screaming and yelling, masked, smoke bombs, carrying what might be grenades, and another lawful person who comes up to them and goes and challenges them? They're going to remove the one person. That's what they're going to do. And so it's to me, it's a problem now of the philosophy of policing, which is just keep it so that nobody gets shot, and we don't want to be accused of Islamophobia, right?
That's what,
and that's not
that's
good.
nail on the head there.
And people can see it. The one thing that gives me comfort is that so many of the two of you, non-Jewish allies, you can see it. You see the double standard. It's there. And it's much more effective when our non-Jewish allies say it than when people like me say it. Because obviously he's Jewish, so of course he feels that way. In terms of, for example, Olivia Chow, okay, I could understand not going to the flag raising of Israel at City Hall, even though that happens all the time. I could understand her not even going to the walk with Israel, okay, but when she didn't go to one which simply called for the release of the hostages, that's where I just went, okay. I was astounded by that. All it was release the hostages, which, by the way, would end the suffering of the Palestinians.
Yeah,
and they've suffered enormously. So, for me, it's like I never believed my grandparents and my wife's parents, who suffered directly in the Holocaust. They were Catholic. When they said, it's there, it's never gone away. I always thought we'd progressed beyond that, but we haven't.
I'll leave you.
I just wanted to show his opinion because I thought it was interesting as a Goldstein. I would imagine that guy's Jewish, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But I like the way he approaches it.
But
I like the way he approaches it, saying, I'm happy. I want to congratulate the way the police have made me feel protected and secure in my own neighborhood. But to say that there's not a two-tier policing is wrong. Well, everybody can see it, right? I've said this so many times. I don't give a fuck about what's going on between Israel and Gaza. My opinion, what matters to me is what's going on in North America. I'll said it before. I'll say it again. Suffering sucks, but I'd rather deal with the suffering I can do something about instead of screaming about what's going on in a war that's been going on for hundreds of years, and it's probably going to continue. It was there before I was born, and it will probably be there after I'm dead. So all I'm saying is I'm happy to hear somebody say this, especially from a Jewish perspective, because as a third party that doesn't have a bone in the game, I'm like, I don't see a bunch of Christians going to mosque in Montreal preying on their turf
as a show of force, as an act of
I
dominance. You just don't see it. It just it just doesn't happen.
But before we open the conversation, I just wanted to show you something, because I saw this video from Patrick Bet-David this morning. It popped on my feed, and I just found it interesting because he's kind of doing a small, I'm bringing up the correlation between the two, but at the end he kind of mentioned something, and I'm like, maybe he's onto something here. But here's a video from Patrick Bet-David getting his mind blown about immigration in Canada. So listen to this.
Shocking to me when I pulled up the data. So I looked at what countries most residents, new permanent residents, are coming into Canada, because the number starts around 2022. Rob, if you can show up the data that shows the spike in immigration. So you look at this, the net international
some of the graphs that he's
migration
using, I've used on our
to 2023. You're getting some people coming in, maybe 200,000 on average, 100,000 on average. All of a sudden, boom, 1.2.5 million. And I looked at the numbers in 2022, 2023, India, China, Philippines, Afghanistan, Nigeria, Pakistan, Cameroon, Eritrea, Iran, US. 2024, India, Philippines, China, Cameroon, Nigeria, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, France. Okay. Then I pulled up a number just to kind of see. In Canada in 1991, according to the Canadian census, the Muslim population in Canada was 0.9%. The Muslim population today in Canada is 5%. Okay. That's based on your census that you have.
You're right about it.
And then the other number that was also shocking is in 2023, population grew by 1.27 million in Canada. Of the people that grew, the number of kids that you guys had that contributed to the 1.27 million was only 2.4%. 97.6% were people that came in from other countries. That's not necessarily a growth that some people would call that an invasion. So
a replacement.
Right. Replacement could be one of them. So,
a lot of them are not sharing Western civilization value.
I didn't even realize that Maxime Bernier was on the show. Like I just watched the first portion of it. The rest, we can let it go later on. We know where he stands on this, but I just found it interesting that 5% of the population growth that's happened over the past 3 years, it went from 0.9% to 5% Muslims, and only 2.4% kids. That's fucked. Why are those people here? If they're low, let's say we know the numbers. We know that a vast amount of them are here on temporary work visa for low-skilled jobs. Same thing for the students, get to work on those low-skilled jobs. So if they're not here to better the life of their children or their families, why are they here exactly? Like I could maybe forgive low-skilled jobs being taken by a father that's trying to do something for his family. I'd be open to the conversation. I'd probably be against it because we need, there's a lot of people that need the jobs here. But I could maybe listen at the table, sit down at the table and listen. 2.4% of those 1.2 million that we've had over the past 2 years, only 2.4% are children. So what are we talking about here? Men?
Yeah. I don't know why. Like, I'd like to know how many single men in that number. I bet you it's like 60 or 70%.
I was looking at the data.
Single women are not coming from Muslim countries. Like, they're just not.
I just found the 5% and the 2.4%. I was like, I don't like those numbers, man.
To me, man, you should. I think immigration should be like overwhelmingly limited to three people that slot into three main categories: highly educated, have a skilled trade, or our families. Because those are the three groups that are going to contribute to our society the most. Families and husband, wife, kids. We do not need to be bringing young, single, often angry men from countries that simply do not share our values in large numbers. It's a social suicide. It's cultural suicide. It's just so. I mean, fucking angry young men have been the cause of like every single, downfalls, like internal. Anytime a society's collapsed from internally, in history, and you're bringing people who like they do not believe many of the values that we believe, values of like tolerance, pluralism, secularism. And when I say secularism, I don't mean like you can't be religious. I just mean you understand that your religion is a private matter and should be broadly kept out of the public square, because when you have a society where there's lots of different religions, you can't have one that's dominant over the others. And it's funny because, theoretically, we are a Christian society, a Christian country. We're founded on Christianity, and yet we're terrified. We're ashamed of people who are, we seem to be ashamed of that. We seem to be terrified of ever like uplifting those values. And I'm saying this as an atheist. I'm not a Christian, but I still understand our history. I understand our values, and it is, I don't know how we got to this place. If there's something else you want to add to that, you can, but if not, we'll take a couple of the comments there.
Well, one thing that I found interesting is that we know that 39% of foreign students come from India. One thing I did not know until recently is that 172 million Indians are Muslims. Did you know that? So chances are that there's a big majority of those numbers that Patrick Bet-David spoke about that are from India. Obviously, we see that a lot of the biggest country that immigrates to Canada are Indians. I didn't realize, though, that 172 million of Indians are Muslims. I didn't realize that. I knew for Pakistan, I knew for Indonesia, but I did not know about India itself. It's just all very interesting because all the research that I've been doing a lot of recently, I cannot find, they talk in general numbers as to the foreign workers, as per the international student. They'll tell you where they come from, but they don't talk religion. I can't find information on women, men, kids. So I'm curious to see where they got their numbers from, like Patrick Bet-David, that is. But there's not a lot of information. It doesn't break it down very well, or you have to go back a few years when the floodgate, as the graph showed, didn't really open until 2023, 2022. This is really when Trudeau opened the door and it went from a few hundred immigrants a year to 1.2 million. So I'm not sure why we don't have that information. Like, I'm not sure. Like, I'm trying not to be a conspiracy theorist and say that there's a good reason why they don't share that information, because that's what I believe is going on. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here, but shouldn't we have that information available as to the mix? And shouldn't the biggest portion, or at least one of the biggest portions of I'll call them low quality immigration, be children? Like, wouldn't that make sense?
You would think so, right? That's what you would want. That's what you would want. You don't want a bunch of adults who already have, their own cultural values and norms baked into them, especially when they're coming from countries that do not share ours. Like if it's from a country that does, then it doesn't matter. But like, it's just, it's so idiotic. Our immigration policy is so anti, like it's like against it. I mean, I know that, sometimes I might, and I admit, maybe I'm being naive, that I think a lot of these things are just bad policy, but maybe they actually think they're doing the right thing, not trying to hurt our society. But sometimes it's really hard to defend that position because
I can't, I can't defend it. I cannot defend it. I just can't.
Yeah. I mean, I try to. That's kind of the way I want to see things. Is that for the most part, most people want to do, like our leaders mostly want to do right by us, and even when they make bad decisions, they think they're doing the right thing. But that you see stuff like this, and it gets harder and harder to believe that.
I want to take this one because, man, Joe Stradamus really has a big problem with religion, but he basically says religion equal mental illness. So basically, I'm mentally ill, is what you're saying, because I follow. No, but that's basically what he's saying.
Yeah,
and just so you know, Joe, all religion stands for is a particular system of faith and worship. So basically, wokeism could be considered a religion. Whatever you believe in could be religion. So basically, you are mentally ill too. I'm just saying, you have a system of belief. Clearly, you believe that religion is a mental illness. So the irony of you believing, having a belief or faith that mental illness, religion is a mental illness, make you mentally ill as well. Because technically, you're religious. You just don't believe the same thing I do.
I don't necessarily think religion is a mental illness. I think religions are an attempt to answer questions that human beings have been asking ourselves for a very long time. Things like big picture questions, like what are, who are we? How did we get here? What is the meaning of life? And I would say it's when we started to ask these questions, that is when we started to really, become a human. And what we call spirituality is our attempt to answer those. Now, at the end of the day, there is an answer, right? Let's just say we don't know any religions. We have never come up with an answer to those questions. The fact that we are here existing on this show, talking and asking these questions, means that we are here. So we did get here. And whatever the real answer is, it's going to be crazy. You know what I mean? I don't know if you ever heard like the simulation hypothesis, that we are just like some sort of program inside of a computer. That's crazy. But so is the idea that an all-powerful God created us in the blink of an eye, and then, wants a personal relationship with us. And sometimes he cares who we have sex with. He doesn't want us to have sex before marriage. I know that every person's religion is that, but you know what I mean? Like, whatever people believe, whatever the answer is for how we got here, it's going to be something crazy. It's going to be something that's kind of bonkers. So I don't think that religion necessarily, I wouldn't agree that it's a mental illness, even though I don't believe in, or I don't accept any of them, or I'm technically an atheist. I think that when I call myself an atheist, I just think that I haven't heard of any answer yet to those questions that have really struck me deep in my heart and been like, yes, I really feel this. But that doesn't mean I don't think there is an answer out there. And whatever it is, it's going to be crazy, right? It's going to be wild. The idea that, Jesus and the Son of God came and died for your sins, that is a crazy thought. It's crazy. But so is any answer to that question of why are we here? How did we get here? And there is an answer, because we are here to ask the question. So yeah, I think even as someone who maybe doesn't, I don't consider myself religious, I understand where it comes from. I understand that deep need humans have to try to answer those questions.
And I've said this so many times. I agree.
Yeah,
with
that's a great point.
Gains. The problem's not religion, it's dogma. That's where the problem is, and I agree.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
But at the same time, one of the things that I would always invite people of doing is just looking at what they consider religion from a philosophical standpoint. So read the Bible from, let's say you read the Bible, read it from, who cares if Jesus Christ was real or not? Just look at it, look at the message. Let's say that it's all a story. Let's say that it's not real. Let's say that it was just thousands of people over the years has come together and embellished a story that happened. Let's say that that's what happened. Tell me that the New Testament is not a good way to live your life. What the main character that is Jesus Christ, what he's telling you to do, just be compassionate, just be a good person, somebody that is ready to die for not what he's done, because he's done nothing wrong, but die for others, by love. Just because he loves others, he chooses to die to hopefully appease a God that is frustrated. Bro, I don't know, man. I'm not there yet. Not sure I'd want to die for the sins of others. Just saying. So,
I mean,
however you feel about the religion itself, I get it, man. I get it. But can you really say that the intentions of the New Testament and what it's trying to teach people is bad? Because if you do, that means you do not like the values on which the US and Canada were built on. Because this is what our value system was. It is not anymore, but that's what it used to be. So at the end of the day, man, I get it. I agree that the dogma's fucked. And I agree. I don't even like the dogma that I see in Christianity. I don't like people that won't question something because it's written black on white, you don't get to question it. No, that's not true. That's bullshit. I question everything. Doesn't matter who wrote it, I'm going to question it. Doesn't mean I'm right, doesn't mean I'm wrong. It just simply means that I don't believe what everybody tells me. I will research it for myself, and I will question what people tell me. But just to say that I agree with Detective Gaines on that one, but I would never say that religion's a mental illness, because it clearly isn't. And but I think Joe has a very, I'd be curious to see what happened in his past life, because
I think Joe
he has a
is kind
massive
of intentionally.
problem. Oh,
You can
yeah.
tell he's a kind of intentionally, I think, being a little hostile to it. And honestly, it kind of reminds me of how I was when I first sort of rejected the Christian upbringing I had, because I was really angry at it. And then the thing that really changed I remember I would regularly, like in my early to mid 20s, I would definitely have said things like, if we could snap our fingers now and get rid of religion, the world would be a much better place. And now I've realized that that's not true. Humans, it's baked into our very DNA, our psychology. We need to have a belief in something more. And if you got rid of religion today, then something else would take its place, and it would almost certainly be much worse. That's why it isn't a coincidence that as we are getting more secular, we are getting more. We've created new religions like trans ideology, for example. Woke has become a religion in many aspects, and those seem much less. At least the old religions have a baked-in sort of guidebook on how to live your life that aren't necessarily religious. Like if you look at the 10 Commandments, like, what's the first one? That no other gods before me. Okay, that's religious. But things like thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, don't fuck your neighbor's wife, don't steal. Like these are core. And even when you see that, that's where you can see how religion does have a pretty important effect on, even if you like as an atheist, I can see the value in it, because you've got these rules that just are objectively good rules that you need to have something like that for society to be able to flourish. And then you've got the religious aspect of a higher power enforcing these rules, which just sort of, again, just sort of gives you the foundation for which these rules apply. Now, whether there actually is a God above enforcing these laws on you, does it really matter? And what matters is that people are acting as if, actually obey the rules, because those rules are needed in order to have a functioning society. So, I mean, I definitely understand Joe's sort of points, and I've been there myself, but I think, I do think if you're going to get rid of religion like that, you're going to have something else to replace it immediately. Because if not, humans are going to fill that gap, and it's almost certainly going to be done with something that's probably much worse than the religion that it's replacing.
I never want to turn this show into a religious type of show. This
No, of course.
has never been my intent, and it never will be. But at the same time, man, Joe is just babbling. Like he doesn't know. Sorry, bro, but it's unfortunate that I see you as such an educated guy on a lot of subject, but that is one that you seem to be extremely emotional about. And I'm just very like, let me ask you a question. Let me just ask you a simple question, and I probably won't address it today, but where does it say in the New Testament that you should kill Jews? Where does it say it? Because this is the dogma of bullshit. Because read the book for yourself. Don't listen to Google. Don't fucking listen to what other people are telling you. Don't listen to me. Just take the time and read the New Testament and tell me where it says that it's okay to kill, because you won't find it. You won't find it. But hold on.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. You have a bunch of assholes that are using religious texts, like the Christianity, for example, to push their own agenda. But I put you to the test to go see what's in the Quran, where they tell you that it's okay to do so. So this is the difference, bro. Like, go check what the books say. Stop believing what others are telling you and read it for yourself. There is a massive, massive difference between what the Bible is telling you that is acceptable and what the Quran is telling you that is acceptable. And this is my point. This is the point that I'm trying to make. And to go on top of that and to say that the US and North America as a whole, even Canada and the US, wasn't founded on Judeo-Christian values is extremely uneducated. I never said the religion of Christianity. My words were values. Values that are taught by the Bible. So be careful. I use my words I know what I'm saying. My words are chosen on purpose. So just to say, I would love to hear more about your backstory as to why you seem so irritated by religion, but you're so against it that you sound dogmatic, like the people that you don't like that are dogmatic. It's very interesting. That whole thing is very interesting, Joe Stradamus.
I would, and I would, I understand on one hand kind of Joe's comment, but what I would say is I think a lot of the killing that is done, it isn't like, if you took away religion, a lot of that killing would still be happening. It would just be,
it's an excuse, man.
It would be, like the Jews and Palestinians, I don't think it's remotely about religion. That's about power. Like so many of other things are, it's about power. And just to split the difference between the two sides here, for sure, there are people who will often use religion as a way to entice other people to kill or cause violence. You could make the case, is that religion's fault? Is it, because I think a lot of, for sure, I definitely agree with you that religion is by far the most effective tool of mass control humans have ever devised. And that's because it's so baked into our DNA. It's because we have such a need to believe in something that, it shapes societies in such a powerful way. It causes people to kill. If the person wielding it, I see religion as a tool. If the person wielding it uses it for good, then it will do good things. If they use it for bad, it will do bad things. But that's not necessarily the fault of the tool itself.
It is used, and anything can be used to go against what it teaches. You just need to focus on the things that you think make sense and those that don't. So at the end of the day, a lot of people talk against religions, and I get it. But I've been spiritual for so long. I've read most of the religions that are out there. And there's not a lot of them that at their core are violent. Like I was a Buddhist forever. And I've read so much, like half of I have probably 2 shelves based on Buddhism behind me right now. And you know what? Nowhere does it say to be violent. That was the reason why I was a vegetarian and I was a vegan. But it's a very selfish way of thinking because it's all about me. It's all about you. It's not about helping others. It's about you. Which is what attracted me to Christianity, because it is about helping others. It is about just being a good person for other people's sake. God knows it's easy to be selfish. It is very, very easy to be selfish. So at the same time, bro, I get you. It's as Therese is saying right now, the 10 Commandments, you can argue the one about you shall not love another God than me, or you should not praise another God than me, or you should not worship another God than me, however you want to translate it. But outside of that, now 9 out of 10 of those commandments, if you can live a life like that, brother, the world would be such a greater place if we could all respect those commandments, but obviously we choose not to. But hey, the point in the matter is that it's not the religion itself that's necessarily dangerous as the dogma, but at the same time, man, not all religions are built equal. Like there's some stuff in the Old Testament I'm like, eesh, not sure, man. Not sure about that. But again, I get you, Joe. I get it. But at the same time, man, I think you're as dogmatic as the Christian dogma or the Muslim dogma. Just the fact that you shut it down completely shows the same type of behavior. Because dogmatic is not being open to it, right? You can't question it. That's what it is. And point final, as our prime minister would say.
Yep, no, that's right. And that's the point of it, is that it can't be questioned. And that's, of course, where all the danger comes from. Any ideology that can't be questioned is a serious danger.
And I'll be, man, the worst part is I'll be the first one to say that a lot of Christians are full of shit. So I fully understand, but I've researched it past what a pastor tells me. I started Christianity with the Gnostic gospel. If you don't know what that is, it's very esoteric. It is very based on spirituality as a whole, not Christianity. It's very interesting stuff. But all to say is,
sorry, I was just going to take this comment from Wise Guy. He says, I do not believe in any of the book religions, but I do know deep in my heart that there's a higher power. That is my God gene, and I'm thankful for it. Yeah, and I would call that spirituality, that God gene that you refer to. And, I think Wise Guy, that's probably a pretty good representation of how I feel about this as well. I think, I think human beings are going to kill people. We're going to be evil. And religion has been historically, absolutely, often used as a tool to entice us to do that. But I think if it didn't exist, we'd find another way to do it.
We'd build something else.
Yeah, exactly. We are fundamentally, that is our nature. And so, yeah, it is an interesting conversation. And, I'm glad that we can sort of have this debate, because especially this topic, above all else, religion can very, 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 very quickly devolve into, it's pretty nasty, pretty ugly, especially when you have debaters of different beliefs and whatnot. So I'm glad we're able to do that. And I think that we were able to have that conversation in a relatively civil way is just kind of shows some of the strength of this show. But, honestly, just I definitely see the arguments on all sides, but I would say my feelings towards religion have definitely softened a bit, just because I see what happens when we don't have it. And even though I don't believe it per se, like I don't believe the book religion, I don't believe the literal interpretations, I see it as, broadly speaking, a force for good, or a civilizing force in society that if we don't have it, I think we lose something.
All I'm going to say to finish this, because we're at 2:30, is I can tell you that Christianity, following Christian values, makes me a better man than not following it.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking what the pastor tells me. I haven't gone to church since I've been back in Canada, just because I know that the churches I want are not here. But I can tell you that just reading the Bible makes me a better person. It definitely does not make me. It reminds me every day how much better I could be. So
yeah, and I think and that's I think that's where it's really got its value. And I think regardless of how you feel about it, just the way you described it, I think that's exactly the kind of thing that I mean when I say, even if I don't necessarily believe it, I see the value that it brings, and I see how we would be worse off if we didn't have it. We'll just take this one last comment just to leave before we leave. Trees, the 10 commandments make sense as a human. It's just being a good person. And yeah, there's that too. Like I said, of the 10 of them,
there's just one, the one about not worshiping another god than myself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you consider that God could be money, God could be anything else, and that's the way it was intended to be said, it's not wrong. Be careful the God that you worship, basically, is what it is, right?
Yeah. And also, I just wanted to very quickly, Jason, I saw your comments back here, brother. We didn't get, we kind of got sidetracked with the religion debate, but I just wanted to give you a shout out there. We didn't ignore you. It's good to see you back here. You've been away for a few days. We missed you. Guys, we'll put a fork in it at that point. Again, great conversation. Appreciate you guys being here with the engagement. Could have been anywhere in the world today, but you chose to be here with us, and we're always going to appreciate that. If you're new here and you like what we're doing, you like the conversation, you think there's value in a show like this, the best way you can support us is by becoming a member over on YouTube, and that will give you full access over to the Discord server where we continue this conversation 24/7. Other than that, folks, we will see you tomorrow. Be safe, have fun, and remember, drop us some lines there in the Discord server if you see anything you want us to talk about on the show. Take care.
Peace out.